Hey, remember me? It's Greg from Baseball and Whatever. How are you doing? Hey, that's great. We should do that sometime. Before we get this episode started, let me tell you about Belly Up Sports. Why, it's only the finest source to get your news on the NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, fantasy sports, and more. Whether it's through forums or articles, or their extraordinary podcast network, Belly Up Sports has you covered. They are the Internet's sports bar. Visit bellyupsports.com and follow them on all social media platforms. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you soon.
Baseball and Whatever with your host, Justin McAwee.
Because I was on campus and I had to appear like I was one of the cool kids, I would put the Star Wars book inside one of my textbooks so it looked like I was just studying for class.
All right, look. There's only one return, okay? And it ain't of the king, it's of the Jedi.
Vincent Francis Jankowitz IV.
I'm a glorified fact checker.
Last I checked, the most runs in a game wins.
Actually, I am a fact checker.
And Greg Probst.
If you look at most Bond fans movie rankings, they have Casino Royale and Majesties in their top two. For me, these actually rank in the bottom part of my list. I mean, I love them, but they don't compare to Diamonds Are Forever.
Still stop getting Bond wrong!
What's up, everybody? It's Friday. We're back. Baseball and Whatever, episode 48. I'm Justin. There's Vinnie. The third chair, Greg, is unfortunately vacant at the moment. He's on assignment. Something along the lines of rescuing Blofeld from Goldfinger, and there's a golden gun and odd jobs there. I don't understand anything he was saying. Greg or Vinny, do you have any idea what he was talking about?
Still stop getting Bond wrong!
I'm sure his head just exploded if you heard me try to explain all that Bond stuff that I have no clue what any of it is. But we are Baseball and Whatever. Welcome. If you're finding us for the first time, we are primarily, the first half of our show is sports podcasts. I'm usually a focus on Chicago because that's where we're based out of. And then the second half is pop culture, music, video games, TV shows, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, James Bond for Greg, is if you're not aware. But tonight we are going to be counting down our top 5 favorite TV sitcoms. So we'll do that. We also got a bunch of people that wrote in to share theirs. And I think it'll be pretty good. We'll have a good time. So if you are listening and you'd like to write into the show, feel free. There's a couple of ways you can get a hold of us. The first way is to call our voicemail or text line, which is 1-913-808-3278. That number again is 1-913-808-FART. There we go. You can also find the YouTube video version of this podcast just by searching Baseball and Whatever. Send us a like and a subscribe and a follow and all that good stuff to help us out. You can also find us on Twitter at Baseball and What, Instagram at Baseball and Whatever, Facebook.com/Baseball and Whatever. And you can also email the show in 2 different ways. The Gmail email is baseballandwhatever@gmail.com. Or if you'd like to email us at our fancy network email, that is Baseball and Whatever podcast at bellyupsports.com. You can find us on all your podcast apps, whether it's Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spreaker, Anchor, and I think that's it. Podcast Addict, there's a bunch. So I think that's all the logistical stuff we got to get out of the way. But first, we are on episode 48, Baseball and Best TV Sitcoms. And we always like to start off by recounting famous numbers of Chicago athletes. So we are up to 48. Vinny, you will be proud of me. I actually have more than one Blackhawk and Cub that I can recite for number 48. There we go. All right. So 48, if I'm not mistaken, this guy was one of my favorite relievers for the Cubs. I want to say he pitched in Mexico for a while, and then he somehow found his way to the Cubs, and that is Joe Borowski. Did you come across him on your list? All right. I don't know what happened to him after he left the Cubs. I like to think he's still wandering the desert, throwing fastballs at cactuses. I don't know, whatever he's doing. Could be. Another 48. I believe there was another reliever named Scott Williamson that was on the Cubs for a year or two.
Didn't make my list.
Didn't make your list? Okay, well, he wasn't very good, and he only pitched for one season. I want to say former White Sox who was traded to the Cubs, I think Neil Kotz was also 48. And the only other 48 I can think of, because I remember always using him on MLB The Show like 2010 was Andrew Kashner. Do you remember Andrew Kashner?
Good job. Yeah, I do. Do you know who he was traded for?
I know he was traded to the Padres, and he was traded for Rizzo, wasn't he? Man, I'm bringing my A game today.
Yes,
and
you
I
are.
don't think either one of those guys are on the teams that they were traded for now. I know Rizzo's not. I don't know where Kashner is now.
I don't know.
He might not even be in the
struggled
league.
after a while.
Yeah, he had some opportunities with the Cubs. It looks like his last soiree in baseball was in 2019 with the Red Sox and Orioles. So
that makes sense.
Orioles pitcher, that's where you go to die, I believe. Any other Cubs that I'm missing?
Yes.
All right.
I have, but you got the main ones. Some of the ones I have on here you aren't going to know.
Okay.
But I have Rex Brothers. Do you remember Rex Brothers?
Was he a pitcher?
Yes.
I vaguely remember him. Reliever? Yeah, vaguely
He was a
remember him.
hard-throwing reliever. I think he was on the team last year.
Okay, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Yep. Let's see here. And then let's see. I have Dickie Knowles. Do you remember? Does that name ring a bell? Dickie
Not
Knowles?
at all. No.
The fun name. And let's see here. Then I have let's see. Sorry, Rick Ruschel or Ruschel.
I know the name. I want to say, was he like the 70s or 80s, maybe something like that?
72 to 84.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Whitey, good baseball name here. Whitey Platt. I believe it's Platt.
Or Pa.
If
he's French, I don't know.
a hockey player, right? No, Whitey Platt, he played from 1942 to 1943.
Oh,
and then let's see here. The last one I have is good old Rick James.
I feel like if we had a Rick James soundbite from Dave Chappelle, this would be the perfect time.
I'm Rick James, bitch.
He
well
played,
done.
Yes, not the actual Rick James, the singer, but Rick James, a baseball player. He was like the complete opposite of Rick James, the musician. He had a negative 0.5 WAR, 13.50 ERA, and 4.2 innings pitched in the majors. Not just with the Cubs, in the majors. Period. So,
boy,
yeah,
that would be super freaky.
Successful.
If I'm not mistaken,
Yes,
that was Rick James.
All
right.
Good.
That was good. All right. I'll go Blackhawks because I can guarantee you I can't think of any Bears or Bulls that have 48. And I certainly can't think of any White Sox that had 48. But Hawks, the only two that come to mind for me, I want to say there's a couple of recent guys, but I honestly can't remember because recent Hawks have not been good. 148, though, that I remember in particular was a enforcer / defenseman / winger because he wasn't really good at either, and they just stuck him out there to fight, and that is David Kochi. David Kochi
was that last name.
Man, he is an ugly dude, but man, could he fight. He broke so many noses in the NHL. He would just one punch and the guy would just be gushing blood. The other Blackhawk I want to remember because I remember going to a lot of games when they were awful in the mid to early aughts, I guess is what you'd call it.
Yeah.
And that is Mark Cullen. Does that sound right?
Good job, Justin.
Yeah, that was my wheelhouse because that's when tickets were still $8 and I could just go there with my college ID to get a ticket for $8. So,
Perfect.
I liked Mark Cullen. I think he only played for like a season for them though. But David Kochi was a fan favorite just because he would beat the hell out of anybody that looked at him funny. So, those are the two. I got nothing else. So go ahead, inform me of the other teams and organizations and players I'm missing out on.
Okay, so you missed two Blackhawks.
Okay.
We have a Walt Kalynuk.
Oh, Wyatt Kalanick.
Wyatt? Oh, man,
Yes,
I wrote that down wrong.
He's been up and down for the last season. He has a little potential, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, okay. I didn't even know that was his number. I'm not going to lie.
Yep. Okay, and a Victor Hinestroza. Is that right?
I believe that's Vinnie Hinestroza, if it's the guy I'm thinking of.
That is Victor on the.
Okay. Hold on. Let me look up
unless I can't write down names.
Let me look up his hockey. His hockey reference page is Vinny. But maybe his real name is Victor and he goes by Vinnie. That could very well be.
Gosh, man, I am just struggling
It looks
here.
like, yes, he was in Chicago, went back, he got traded to Arizona, went back to Florida, and then is now in Buffalo. And Buffalo is like absolute hell to play for the last like 2 decades. So poor guy stuck in the Arctic in Buffalo, I guess. But okay. I forgot he was 48, if I'm honest.
Sorry about that. I got the names wrong there.
I don't care.
Well, I do. I'm the glorified fact checker. If I can't even, I'm writing it down. I'm not the glorified writer. So, yes. Okay. So I'll go through Sox, Bears, and Bulls. I'll start with the Bulls because there's one, Nazir Mohammed. Do you remember him?
Oh yeah, I want to say was
tall
he?
Guy?
He was like an older guy too, right? End of his career, maybe. I want to say.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Gosh, I wrote both those names wrong for the Blackhawks. Now that I just looked at them again. I'm
not gonna lie, Vinny. The Hawks don't deserve your time or effort, so don't worry about it, especially this season.
Okay, so for the Bears, I have a list here. BD Feathers.
Oh God, I have no idea.
As an old timer. Patrick Scales.
Okay, that I remember. I remember him.
Yep. Do you remember Evan Rodriguez?
No.
Fullback?
No, I don't.
No. Okay. And then 2 guys that probably went on to have careers breaking guys' thumbs. A guy by the name of Tommy Neck, and then a guy by the name of Vic Zuko.
Oh, those guys look like they'd baseball bat to the kneecaps if you crossed them, I think.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Oh, yeah. And then the great grandfather of Nick Swisher, Bob Swisher.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm kidding. I have no idea.
I was going to say, I wonder if he was better at football than his grandson was at baseball.
Yeah, they're not. From what I know, they're not related because there's nothing on the Wikipedia page for Bob Swisher being related. So
gotcha.
So those are the Bears. Right. For the White Sox, I have Alex Colomé. Joakim Soria.
Oh, yeah. I remember. I forgot he was on the Sox. He was the Royals closer like 10 years ago. He was really good as a Royal. I forgot he was on the Sox.
Okay. And one of my favorite, and I know Greg's said this guy's name a lot, Hector Nuesi.
I've heard the name. Is he a reliever, I'm guessing?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Esteban Loaiza.
Oh, who's doing, I think, like 20 to life right now in a prison, actually, for drug trade, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I think he's playing in the California Penal League.
That's where he's going to be playing for a long, long time.
Yes. And then the great grandson of Ponce de Leon, Jose de Leon, played from 93 to 95.
Nice. That name, 93 to 90. I feel like that's when I was really into the White Sox too. I'm surprised I didn't catch that one. I don't remember him at all. I'll have to go back and look on like RBI 94 and see if I can find him. All right.
And that's it.
That's it. All right. There's your famous or infamous numbers for this week. All right. We actually, we have a voicemail this week, and it's actually just me because I was so amped up after seeing the Batman last night that I had to call and share my thoughts on the way home. Let me preface this by saying that apparently your Bluetooth hands-free phone calling sounds like crap when it's recorded for Google voicemail. It didn't sound very good. I was kind of surprised.
Sounds okay.
I didn't know. I wonder if it has something to do. See, I'm always curious when it's hands-free and it's Bluetooth. Is the receiver to the phone going through my speakers, or is it going through the port in the phone? Because if that's the case, the phone might have still been in my jeans, and that might be why it was so staticky.
If it's through your car, you should have like a microphone
somewhere. That's what I assumed.
Yeah, you should look for it. It's usually above your head. Either I know on Gretchen's car, the Nissan that we used to have, it was in the center, but now on our Traverse, it's in the like middle above us. And I think with the Jeep that we have, it might be in the center console, so it could be
all over
anywhere.
The place.
Yeah, so it's somewhere in front of you. So it wasn't because of your.
It wasn't because of my.
The phone was in your.
Fair
pants.
enough. So Vinny was nice enough to rip this voicemail, and we are going to play just my excitement. You can tell how excited I am. Go ahead, Vinny.
What's up, guys? Justin just walked out of the theater. I'm driving home now. I don't want to spoil anything because Vinnie hasn't seen it yet, but holy shit. Possibly the best Batman movie ever. I think it just edges out Dark Knight. Paul Dano as the Riddler. Oh, man, I think he's a tie for best villain with Heath Ledger's Joker. I can't wait for whatever else they do with this series. I hope it's a trilogy. I don't want to get too into the weeds, but Vinny, you need to go see this. And then I think we need to do like a huge spoiler cast where we just talk about this for like an hour as an episode. That's it, Greg. We have to talk tomorrow because I got a lot of thoughts on how awesome this movie was. Vinny, go see this movie. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
All right. I sound like a 9-year-old who's really excited about his birthday presents. That's like the best way I can establish that. I don't know. But yeah, I saw it last night. It was me and like 6 other people in the entire theater because I went at 7:30 after Erica, was getting ready to put Maddie to bed. Being on spring break this week. But yeah, I can't emphasize enough. It is spectacular. Yeah, I know I was trying to hype up the Snyder Cut, Vinny. Snyder Cut can't hold a candle to this movie. The Snyder Cut's nowhere in, it's not even on the same planet as this movie. So good.
Shocking.
Yeah,
especially because Greg built this one up for you.
Know.
So you had high expectations going in.
There were moments when I was getting psyched. It was like borderline me, like getting excited when Greg was excited during Rogue One and Darth Vader showed up. The car chase, spectacular. The new Batmobile. I know we've talked about how I like the Tumbler from the Dark Knight trilogy. I know you don't. This new Batmobile blows the Tumbler out of the water. The sound of the jet. It's got like a jet engine in the back. The sound of that engine.
Nice.
Starting up when he's getting ready to chase the Penguin, which in the trailer that's been seen a ton. So that's not a spoiler, but it really moved. I mean, we joke that the Snyder Cut's 4 hours. This movie is 3 hours, but it kept moving. And it's funny because it would kind of like take these twists and turns of like, they would focus on this aspect of the mystery in the movie. And then at the end, when they're getting closer to solving that, I'd be like, oh, well, wait, they still got to come back and finish this arc. So then they would kind of, I don't know why I'm using my hands for this, but they would kind of divert back. I can't think of his name now. The guy that played Lieutenant Gordon. Oh God,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, possibly as good as a Lieutenant Gordon as Gary Oldman from The Dark Knight.
Nice,
just the way he played him, very good. Colin Farrell as the Penguin, spectacular. Don't get me wrong, Danny DeVito's Penguin is unique and weird and strange, and it has a time and a place. This is such a more like believable Penguin. John Turturro is Falcone, like the crime boss that runs the city. John Turturro is amazing. I forgot how good of an actor he is. Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, arguably maybe the best Catwoman. Anne Hathaway as Catwoman was fine. Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman is pretty iconic, but Zoe Kravitz did a great job. Like I said, Paul Dano nails it. Like the Riddler, I was telling Erica, I'm like, you would love this because they play the Riddler as like a serial killer, which is such a divergence from what we see in like Jim Carrey's Riddler or the animated series and stuff like that. So I cannot recommend this movie enough. I think it comes to HBO Max in like maybe 20 something days, but
really?
I think it was 45 days then, or 45 or 50 days it was coming to HBO Max. So if you can hold out. But I know Greg was saying he was going to go see it again, I think tomorrow by himself, I want to say. So, great movie. I won't say any more because I feel like I'm taking up too much time anyway, but can't recommend it enough. It's a nice. It made me feel the way about Batman that I did when I was a little kid, and I haven't felt that in a long time. Snyder Cut, as much as I say I like it, did not make me feel that way. I was like, oh, it's a cool movie. Robert Pattinson, awesome.
Batman.
And I know we've talked about this, about how I think it was with Bill Koenig about how when Michael Keaton was announced as Batman, people flipped out because he was Mr. Mom and it wasn't going to fit. I will admit, I thought this was going to be a joke because of the what were the vampire movies. Twilight. Thank you. And I know he's done some incredible acting work since then, which I'm oblivious to that. I have not seen it, so I was surprised, but he nails Batman's character. I actually liked him as Bruce Wayne. I know people have knocked him a little bit as his Bruce Wayne. It's very few and far between scenes as Bruce Wayne, but great movie. So there you go. There's my take. And I know I was texting with Greg today because I had to like fanboy out about Batman and I didn't want to spoil anything for you. So
thank you.
You're welcome.
You're one of the few people in the family that don't spoil things.
Yeah,
for me.
well, I mean, thankfully your mom hasn't seen Batman. If she did, I'd have to say we'd have to put you in like an isolation chamber. Otherwise, it gets spoiled for you pretty quick. So,
for sure.
So we do have a couple YouTube comments actually this week from your dad, Pretzel Vince, and two from longtime listener Glucosamine Chondroit. And so I don't know, Vinny, you want to take these?
Sure.
Or you want me, or I can take them. It's up to you.
I got it.
Okay.
So Pretzel Vince writes in, good interview. Have to love the minor leagues. They are so innovative. Love the idea of the different unique promotions. Yes, I agree. They do have a lot of unique promotions. And if you go to a Savannah Bananas game, they have a lot of unique things going on the field.
Oh my God. Those were incredible to see some of those tweets this week.
They're independent league, right?
Yeah, I saw someone kind of equating them almost to the Harlem Globetrotters of the independent league, which I'm starting to get that vibe with some of the stuff they do now on the field.
With the singing, with the pit. Do you see the pitcher?
Yes,
who rips
the pitcher
his shirt off and starts singing and throws a strike.
Singing, Celine Dion. I can't remember what song it was. Now it's not the Titanic one; it's one of her earlier ones, and like nailed it. And then you see, I think like the middle infielders were kind of getting into it, and it's kind of funny.
They had like lights and stuff behind them, like dancing around.
And I think it's funny, like the other team, they just must know this is going to happen, or they just know, hey, we're playing the Savannah Bananas. It's going to get goofy, and they just roll with it. But there's no like vendettas, there's no vengeance, because I mean, if someone did that in the pros, oh my gosh, that would be disrespecting the game, and we can't have that. So, and then I know
Tony would be out there.
We'd have to see him run again after somebody.
Oh yeah.
And then I think, as you were mentioning, the other tweet I saw today, and I can't remember if you retweeted it. It was was it their leadoff guy, or he was going down and doing the splits for every pitch? Did you see that one?
Yeah, it was. I just saw the one pitch. Did he do it for every pitch?
He did it for every pitch. They walked him. He did a somersault out of the batter's box and then ran to first.
Well, I'm glad he didn't swing the bat, because that would have made my
it would have hurt.
That would have hurt watching it.
That would have hurt. Yeah.
But yeah, I saw that. Yeah, he did the splits, and I liked how the catcher and the ump both like got low. Well,
really low. Yeah.
The splits, but they both got low to lower the strike zone, and they walked him. But yeah, I was really afraid he was going to swing the bat. I'm just like, oh, please don't
do that.
I don't know if I can handle that.
As somebody who hasn't been able to do the splits relatively since I played goalie in hockey, and that was when I was still in college. No, thank you. I know I can't stretch like that anymore. Those were the young days, the young Justin. But good for them for having fun playing baseball.
Yep.
So,
Glucosamine Chondroidian Dr. Condom writes in on YouTube. Pretty stoked the Mariners scored Jesse Winker and Eugenio Suarez from the Reds, which is awesome. Suarez has a ton of power, but hopefully he brings back his pre-2020 offense to go with it. He also writes in, Rizzo went on Ian Happ's podcast talking about NFTs, and I stopped listening to that episode.
That is
Great
the right
job,
response.
Dr. Condom.
I think we are actively anti-NFTs just for their stupidity. But yeah, I saw when he shared this, I kind of went and was looking, because obviously I kind of follow the Mariners a little bit from afar, and they had an exciting season. Granted, they didn't make it at the end, but I really like Scott Service as their manager, and the fact that Jerry DiPoto is bringing in guys that might actually help is really exciting. So I'm definitely going to be pulling for them from afar, along with probably the Padres, and that'll be it, because the Orioles suck, and I'm not going to waste my time with that. But I don't know how you feel about Ian Happ, but I know he's got his own coffee and his own podcast and stuff like that, but I'm kind of over Ian Happ. Like, I know people were like, oh, I can't wait to see how he does this season. I kind of figure I know how he's going to do this season. Like, not much has changed. I don't know about you, but
yeah, I mean, I know we'll probably talk about this later. Just kind of talking about the outlook of this upcoming season after the free agent. I guess the free agency is kind of over with now. Whatever. But I'm gonna really miss Eugenio Suarez on the Reds, because it was a pleasure always hearing Pat say his name.
Yes, it was.
And his pronunciation of that name. I try to do my best Pat Hughes and
that was good
impersonation. And yes, thank you. I've been practicing on it. So
I can tell. It shows.
It'll be nice for him to be on the Mariners. Yeah, I remember it always seemed like he was a Cubs killer. So if the Mariners play the Cubs this year, he'll probably have a good game.
All right. Well, that does it for our emails. I was going to say under the hot takes, I was going to talk about Batman, but I already got that out of my system. So I guess, and look, do you have any hot takes, or should we move on to the hot stove in baseball?
We can move on to baseball.
All right.
Yeah, I really don't have any, or if I did, I've forgotten already.
Greg's the one that really brings that passion for the anger, and he hasn't been angry lately, but he brings the passion for the hot takes. So we'll leave that for when he gets back. All right, yes. Vinny, let's hit me with the baseball talk. Let's do this.
Baseball.
Welcome back to Major League Baseball. Sort of.
Taking a look at Chicago's two favorite teams and other happenings around the MLB.
All right. Baseball is, I almost said the preseason. The spring training leagues are in the full swing of things. It's been great on MLB Network just to turn it on during the day and have a game, going. Granted, it won't be a Cubs game because that's a whole other issue. But I think I watched the Blue Jays and the Braves, or the Blue Jays and the Reds the other day, and it was kind of cool to see, Biggio and who am I thinking of? Not Tatis. Thank you. Yes. Bo Bichette and everybody, all the young guns on there. So exciting to have baseball back. But Greg was nice enough. I believe it was Greg. Unless it was you. Okay. Greg was nice enough to kind of recap some of the free agent signings, because I'll be honest, I'm glad he's doing it, because I forgot. I didn't even know some of these guys were still in the league. So I'm glad that he did this.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So here we go. Let's run through some of these. We have Michael Pineda, who he was a pitcher I was hoping the Cubs would take a run at. He signed a 1-year deal with Detroit, $5.5 million per year with $2.5 million in incentives. So again, that seems like a pretty fair deal, something the Cubs could have afforded, but chose not to. Sergio Romo, I didn't even know he was still in the league. I thought he fanned out with the Giants, but I forgot he kind of made a comeback with, was it not the Braves? Do you remember who he?
God, I don't remember.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. Anyway, he also signed with Seattle, 1 year, $2 million plus a $250,000 signing bonus, which is pretty cool. Tommy Pham, who I remember as a Cardinal, I believe, signed in Cincinnati, a 1 year, $7.5 million deal. Greg adds that they could have used Wayne Enterprises' Nomex survival suit back in San Diego. I don't know what that's in reference to. Do you remember what that's in reference to? I know it's in reference to Batman, but I don't know what happened to Tommy Pham. Did he get in trouble with somebody, or
he got stabbed?
Oh God, that's right.
And then he went on to say later that his doctor claimed that he was so muscular and that's why he survived, or some weird thing. But yeah, whatever. Go have fun in Cincinnati.
Yeah, you couldn't pay me to go play for the Red. Well, you could, granted how much they make, but if I had options, I would not want to play in Cincinnati. Kenley Jansen signed a 1-year deal with Atlanta for $16 million. I was listening to, I think it was one of the Cubs games I listened to on the radio. I did not realize he was pretty much with the Dodgers for almost a decade at that point, which I knew he had been around a long time. I remember them running into the Dodgers in 2016, and he was a force to be reckoned with, but I did not realize he had been there that long. So good for him. We'll see what he can do in Atlanta. This one pains me. My guy, Nick Castellanos, signed a 5-year, $100 million deal with Philadelphia. I don't know about you, Vinny, but I would have loved to have seen him playing somewhere in the outfield for the Cubs, but I guess it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, that stinks, but I
guess again,
their outfield is really crowded right now with the guys that they have, with Clint Frazier, the Hayward's out there. They got, Seiya, they just signed. God, who else is out there? I'm trying to think. They got Brendan Davis, who's supposed to be coming up this year.
That's true.
A lot of names are slipping my mind at the moment, but Vargas, Vargas or no Ortega, and
Ortega's the one that I'd like to see playing out in center field every day,
and Hermosillo.
Yes,
as well. So it's starting to get really crowded out there. Yeah. Obviously he's an upgrade, but I think obviously Seiya's going to play. And then I think they want to see like a platoon maybe of Hermosillo and Ortega in center field. And then you're going to have Clint Frazier playing, who this spring, he looks really good right now. I think this year is going to be a big evaluation year for the Cubs. Yeah, it'd be great to have those guys, but I don't know how Jed's valuing these guys. I don't know if it's all about money or if it's, Jed doesn't see the value down the road with them, or he thinks there's too much talent in the pipeline and he's maybe overvaluing the talent on where they're going to be at in the next couple of years. I really don't know. And we don't know because Jed hasn't said anything.
He's pulling a Ryan Pace.
The Cubs are being cheap, but I don't know. Is this Jed's plan to do this?
It could be.
And if it's his plan, it's his plan. If there's no, Tom Ricketts or I can't think of the guy's name that's doing all the media stuff.
Right now, Crane Kenny's the business,
Crane
right?
Kenny, yes.
Oh, okay. He does media too.
Yeah, if Tom or Crane aren't going in there and telling him he can't sign these guys and this is all on his this is what he wants to do. Okay.
Yeah.
Got to, I guess, roll with it until this doesn't work and he gets canned. But, it would have been great to have him out there, but I don't know where he, fits out there. I think they really want to take a nice long look at Frank as DH. I think that's where he fits. I know everybody says he's going to be first base, but my guy, Alfonso Rivas.
I'm hoping for Rivas.
I'm really hoping he's going to get a full shot this year at first base because I think that's where he belongs. He's a great defender. That's something that Frank lacks in. So I think Frank's going to end up being the DH. And if Frank does what he did the last half of the year, is there a spot? Then you got too many people. Then you're paying, then Nick Castellanos isn't getting at bats or Frank's not getting at bats. Then I get it's a good thing to have that. To be the Yankees or the Dodgers. It is. I don't know how Jed is viewing all of this and the approach he's taking. I would like to. But the history says that there is. That the ownership or someone is telling Jed that he can't spend this money. That's what we have to go with until Jed says otherwise, I guess.
I wish they would just come out and be like, hey, here's the plan. And I think you'd have the fan base on board if you did that. And we can get more into this when we get to our Cubs section. But yeah, I as frustrating as I was that they didn't go after him because I really like Castellanos. And this kind of goes back into the Ian Happ thing. I would much rather see Hermosillo and Brennan Davis, if he makes the roster, and Ortega out there every day. Ian Happ is a known quantity. I want to, if this year is going to be an evaluation,
Ian Happ's another one out there too.
And if it's, I think you're right. I think this year is going to be an evaluation year. And if that's the case, that's fine. But then if anything, you're being given the green light to play guys that maybe aren't going to get you wins, but you at least can tell how they're going to be. Do that. I know what Ian Happ is. He got sent down 3 or 4 years ago and almost played half the season in the minors, and he got all pissy about it. And it's like, well, dude, you sucked. And then he came back and he was up and down and up and down. And it's frustrating. But like you said, if they would just come out and tell us what their plan is, instead of hiding in the corner like that gif of Ryan Pace when he was the Bears GM, it would make things a lot easier. All right, let's get back to the signings. Here's a big one. Oh, man, I know Greg was extra salty about this one. Carlos Correa, probably the darling of the free agent class, is signing with Minnesota, a 3-year, $105.3 million deal.
What the hell is going on?
The weird thing about this deal is he can opt out after every single year. So it's really like a 1-year deal, essentially, because I don't think the Twins are supposed to be good this year, are they? I mean, they were god awful last season.
I don't think so. But they made a bunch of moves. They got Sonny Gray. So they're trying. They are trying. Yeah. And this deal, when I saw this, to me, I mean, this is a great deal for Correa. 3 years. Yeah. I mean, if everything goes, he gets injured, things are bad, and he stays for the full 3 years, he's going to be 30 years old. He's still going to have one more chance at a big, long contract and make a good deal of money. in the process. So this is a great deal for him. Most likely it's a 1-year deal. And I think that's why the Cubs, they were rumored to be in on Correa before the lockout. And then, afterwards we didn't hear much. And I'm wondering if, because he switched to Boris during the lockout, right?
I believe I believe that's correct. Yeah.
So then something else I saw, I have no idea how true this is. I did not have a chance to fact check it. Someone had posted on Twitter, so take it with a grain of salt, that since he switched to Boris only gets 70% of the commission on this contract. So, or that he would be, compared to the, full commission that the agent would be entitled to. So is he doing this because then he's going to opt out after 1 year and then Boris gets a full 100% of the agent's commission?
Yeah.
I don't know how true that is. I would love if someone out there is listening that can write into the show and let us know if that is true. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. And I was like, oh, this deal makes more sense even more now. And so I don't think the Cubs were ever going to be in on it because he had the draft compensation tied to him. You lose that second. If it was a 10-year pick or a 10-year contract and the Cubs didn't do it, then it's like, what are you doing? Because this guy's obviously an upgrade over, he's a known commodity. He can slide to third base. If Patrick Wisdom doesn't work out, which I don't think he's going to work out.
Yeah, I'm really holding my breath on that one.
I think they, again, he's going to be evaluated for a full season to see what he does there at that at third base. But yeah, the deal didn't make sense for the Cubs to do it. Obviously, they could have done it, but you're going to do it for a 1-year contract. It should be a 1 year because you're hoping it's going to be a 1 year because he's going to be playing great and not hurt at all. So he'll opt out and then you're going to have to do it all over again. So the contract never made sense to me. If I was a GM, I probably wouldn't have done it either. And just hope that, maybe I can do it next year and lock him up for a longer term. And that way Boris can get his full commission if that's the actual
goal.
Truth. Yep. So yeah, for the Cubs not doing that, I was okay with it because he's going to be available next year. And there's another big, shortstop class, I guess, because I think Bogarts.
That's right. I think Bogarts will definitely hit the market for sure. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Speaking of shortstops, Trevor Story, the other big name, signed a 6-year deal with the Red Sox, $140 million. He will play second base this season, and he has an opt-out after the 4th year. Boston can negate the opt-out by picking up a 7th-year option for $25 million or pay a $5 million buyout fee. If Boston exercises the option, they add $20 million to the deal, and it becomes a 7-year, $160 million deal. And there is no trade clause in it. So talk about really creative, really creative negotiations there. I'll be very curious to see if he plays for 7 years, 6 years, or if he opts out after the 4th year. We'll see what happens. So should be interesting. What else we got? Former Cub Zach Davies signed with Arizona, 1-year deal with a buyout, $4.5 million with incentives, which I don't think he was. Man,
how did he get that deal after last year?
He must have.
How did he get that?
He has to have pictures on somebody in the Diamondbacks organization. That's the only guess I have on that one.
He's got a very good agent, that's for sure. Maybe Anthony Rizzo should switch to that agent.
We can talk about Rizzo later. There's also some invitees to spring training camp. Matt Carpenter, former Cardinal, if I'm not mistaken, signed a minor league deal with the Texas Rangers. He gets $2 million if he makes it to the majors. We'll see what happens there. Phil Gosselin signed a minor league deal with Atlanta. Pat Valleca, who I believe was a Cub at one point, if I'm not mistaken, like a bench guy, very, very quickly, signed a minor league deal with Atlanta. And Oliver Perez, former pitcher, I remember him when he was a Pirate like 15 years ago, signed with Arizona. We also have a couple trades. San Diego acquired Luke Voigt, who's first base from the Yankees, in exchange for right reliever Justin Lange, the 34th pick overall in the 2020 amateur draft, which is interesting. That means either him or Hosmer is going to have to play first base because now they have 2 full-time first basemen. I know Hosmer hasn't been as great for San Diego.
He's going to be a DH.
That's got to be the alternative, I would think.
Yeah.
He was slotted in there. Colorado also acquired Randall Grichuk in cash from Toronto for outfielder Ramel Tapia and infielder prospect Adrian Pinto. So there you go. There's your hot stove roster movement for the week. We only have one story about our Southside White Sox fans. And Vinny, I don't know, maybe you can kind of share your thoughts on this because I just thought this was ridiculous. And I'm not even a White Sox fan. Lucas Giolito is going to arbitration, ultimately over, I believe, $50,000 is how far apart they were between him and the White Sox organization for an extension on his contract.
Can't believe that.
I don't get it.
It was 200,000, I think.
That's right. It was 200,000. He was quoted as saying it was 50,000 for some reason. I don't know why.
Maybe it was 50. I don't know.
But you're right.
It was a small amount.
I heard 200,000 first, and then he did an interview with somebody from the Score and said 50,000. So I don't know if maybe they're arguing semantics. Maybe there's something in the contract offer that negates one or the other. But in talking to Greg, because Greg's the diehard Sox fan in the group, he just said it's a case of Jerry Reinsdorf being really cheap. Or Jerry Reinsdorf said, this is how much he's going to get. And if he doesn't like it, we're not budging at all, which Lucas Giolito has done so much for that organization. Why would you want to screw your ace over like that? I don't understand, especially when it's $200K to us is life-changing for a couple of years at least. To Jerry Reinsdorf and a Major League Baseball organization that's valued at like close to $1 billion, $200K is nothing, let alone if it's $50K, that's chump change. So I don't know. What did you think when you saw that come across this week?
It's ridiculous. It just pay him. He's a great pitcher. He's been voted in the top 11 Cy Young for the past 3 years in a row. Yeah. What are you doing? You're pissing him off. Do you not want to sign him? Like, gosh, they don't have a big farm system, so you're gonna have to pay him or you're gonna lose him. And why not make things smooth? And this is, to me, it's shocking because of how well the White Sox have done in the past with avoiding these issues or signing guys before they hit arbitration.
Yeah,
I think was it Anderson, Louis Robert.
They all signed like 6 and 8 year deals, didn't they, for security purposes, pretty much? Yeah.
And so, they did all that. This just is shocking. It seems like the White Sox have been better about that. I know Greg is, I know Greg would be fired up just calling, this just typical Jerry Reinsdorf being a cheap ass. But to me though, they've done everything right with their, young players and paying them when they need to be paid. So this is just, to me, shocking.
Yeah, and also I've read that, Reinsdorf treats the organization so well, like the workers get a raise every year and he's very supportive of that. So why would you not want to support someone who's the ace of your staff? And arguably, he was one of the first trades that kind of kicked off this huge renovation project for the White Sox, wasn't he? I mean, he was one of the first guys. Granted, when they got him, no one expected him to really amount to much because his stock had really fallen, if I'm not mistaken, right? And then he kind of built himself back up.
He was part of the Adam Eaton trade.
Yes.
I can't remember if that was first before the sale. I want to say it was just because he was a lesser player.
Yeah.
Sorry to all you Adam Eaton fans out there. Which I don't
they're going to come out of the woodwork after you.
Except maybe his mother. He was one of those, the first one to kind of restart the whole rebuild process. And like you said, he wasn't supposed to be, he was good. And then, his stock fell, but, he's been right back to, being the ace of the staff. And yeah, gosh, I don't know. This is really confusing on what they're doing here because it doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
It doesn't make any sense, but that is the White Sox organization at this moment. So that's all we got for the Sox. Let's transition to the Cubs. We found out that Seiya Suzuki is going to wear number 27. That was a pretty funny press conference. He literally looked at the camera and just said, "Mike Trout, I love you." And that's Mike Trout's number.
Great.
It was great. So he's definitely got a personality. just seems like a good guy from what I can tell. Obviously, through the brief moments of his press conference, and then also his responses through his translator. The other thing, Drew Smiley, who the Cubs signed this week, 1 year, $5.25 million deal with $2.5 million in incentives. I'll be honest, I don't even know where Drew Smiley came from last year, but I remember like 2 years ago, he was one that signed with the Cubs, had Tommy John, and was going to be kind of like a rehab project. And then he either got traded or he left because it was a very short-term deal. But now he's back and making $5 million. I mean, I'm kind of surprised. I don't know about you, but
he was with Atlanta last year.
Okay.
I think it was
you're right.
Atlanta or Tampa. Speaking of where somebody was before, Sergio Romo was with Oakland last year.
Gotcha. Okay.
That. So, but yeah, he was, let me just look this up real quickly. But yeah, he was either with Atlanta. I want to say he was with Atlanta last year. Okay. Yeah, he was. But yeah, he was with the Cubs, and then he had Tommy John for 17, 18. He was recovering, and yeah, then he got let go. And he was with Texas and Philly in 2019 and San Francisco in 2020 and Atlanta last year.
Okay. So, I mean, the Cubs clearly need starting pitching because after Hendricks and Stroman, it drops off pretty quick. Obviously, they have some young guys they're hoping to rely on, but if those guys don't pan out, hopefully somebody like Drew Smiley can come in and be a stopgap, maybe a third or fourth starter. I mean, I'm kind of nervous to have him as a third starter, but
he should be a fifth starter.
Yes,
but we'll see what he does.
Yeah, and maybe somebody will really. I know Justin Steele pitched today for the Cubs, and that was promising. And who's the kid? Well, I don't even know if he's a kid anymore, but they keep saying he can go back to the bullpen. He pitched a no-hitter for them a couple of years ago.
Alec Mills,
I think will get another shot potentially. Yep. So we'll see. We'll see. It'll be kind of a make or break season for some of these guys that have been kind of bouncing back and forth between the rotation and the bullpen. So there you have it for the Cubs. In terms of around the league, we know that the 10th inning ghost runner is coming back, which I guess technically they're calling it the ghost runner, but like they did for the pandemic seasons, when you get to extra innings, a runner will start on second base just to kind of speed things up. I don't know about you, Vinnie, when that first happened, when they announced that, I was so against it. I thought that was so dumb. But now after seeing it in practice, it's nice. I like it. It moves things along. You're not getting these 16, 17 inning games, which as exciting as they were the one or two times they would occur a year, it wrecks your pitching staff. So if this shortens things up, I'm fine with them bringing it back. But I know some people were really angry about it.
Yeah, well, it's just the baseball peers, the same people that don't like the DH and coming to the NL. It's just you're changing the game. I don't mind it, like you said. Getting rid of those. I know people like the longer games because you get more for your money, especially if you're at the game. But when I know when the Cubs were in their window and they would play a Cincinnati or Pittsburgh. And they would go into these games and they're going 13, 14 innings. And then they got a, big series against the Cardinals or the Brewers. It's like, gosh, they're really wasting their pen. If only that, someone was on base when they got that hit in the late inning that they could have drove in the run. But yeah, I'm okay with it. It does add excitement to it. It does kind of quicken up the end of games. It would probably be better if maybe they delayed it for an inning instead of just doing it in the 10th, maybe doing it in the 11th.
Sure. I can see that being a good compromise.
And, I guess, for, people upset, I guess it's, most of the people that are probably upset are just the purists that want the game left the way it is because that's the way it's always been. But if you think about it, they're always changing overtime rules and other sports. Football's been changed.
Football changes every year.
In the past 10 years, they're changing the rules. So yeah, I just think it's, it's okay to have it. It's not like if the top of the inning they score, the game's over with, they still go to the bottom of the inning. So they still get a rebuttal.
Exactly.
So I think it's perfectly fine, and it can speed up the game and I guess quicken up a long game so that you're not going 15, 16 innings and you're not wasting your bullpen on a potentially weak team and you have the chance to, end it earlier than later.
Yeah, well, I think you nailed it. And yeah, unfortunately, you're still going to have people that are refusing to progress the game into the 21st century and wanting things to change. So, but those people are going to be around no matter what. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think it's a good call for every reason you pretty much just dictated there. So, all right, I don't think we have any really major Bears talk this week. We also
had some.
Oh, do you got something? Do you want to?
Yeah, some baseball stuff. This past week they came out with the top MLB top 100 prospects.
Ooh.
So I'll go through the Cubs and the White Sox.
Sure. Let's hear it.
Two Cubs on the list. Brennan Davis made number 15 on the list of top 100. He's the number one in the Cubs system.
Mm-hmm.
He is an outfielder, 22 years old, should be making his debut this year. Another Cub on the list, Christian Hernandez, number 92, just made it. He is number 3 in the Cubs system.
Okay.
Shortstop, 18 years old, so he's not going to be up anytime
soon.
This year, probably next 2 years or so. I think 2024 is his projected, MLB debut. And there is nobody on the White Sox in the top 100. So, yeah, it's kind of Bears system for the White Sox right now. But just to go through the top 5 for 2022 on the prospect ranking, number 1, do you have a guess, Justin, on who it is?
For the number 1? God, yeah. I honestly have no idea. No clue.
It's Bobby Witt Jr., shortstop, third baseman for, do you know?
No.
Kansas City.
All right, go Royals.
Yeah, Adley Rutschman. Ooh,
okay.
I might have butchered that. Rutschman.
That works for me.
Yeah, a catcher for the. Do you know?
I'm gonna say Rockies.
No.
No. Okay.
It was the Baltimore Orioles.
Oh, okay. That would have been a good safe pick since they're garbage to begin with. So.
Yes. Number 3 on the list, Julio Rodriguez, outfielder for the Seattle Mariners.
Ooh, okay. I'll have to keep an eye on that.
Spencer Torkelson, first base, third base, and he is with the Detroit Tigers.
Okay.
And Riley Green, outfielder, also with the Detroit Tigers. So they got 2 guys, top 100 prospects that are making should be here or are already in the majors, close. Played last year. But yeah, they're 2 top prospects, adding Javi Baez. I think the Detroit Tigers are going to be a team to be reckoned with this year. They're going to make I think they're going
to give the Sox a little bit of pressure, considering last season the Sox pretty much were set from the get-go, right? I mean, Twins didn't do anything. The Indians / now the Guardians, I don't think they're going to really do much this season. The Royals, I think they're still rebuilding, or I don't know what they're doing in Kansas City. But yeah, I think the Tigers, and now you got Baez. If he's on a hot streak, we'll see what he can do. If he's the kind of guy that can carry a team for a little while if he needs to, when he's hot. So we'll see what happens. And
be like the 2015 Cubs.
Yes, he really put them on their back and just said, all right, let's go. And then, as soon as that ends, then he's back to swinging at balls over his head and in the dirt. So, but that's another story for another time. All right. I don't think we have any Bears talk unless there's anything you want to jump in there. You got any Bear stuff? Okay.
They made some small signings, but nothing major.
And I know the Bulls. The less we say about the Bulls, the better. They're really struggling.
We've jinxed them by.
I think we did by adding a segment for the Bulls. Yeah, they're going to get into the playing game. I think for the playoffs if they're not careful. But I do actually have some Blackhawks talk. If you want to do a little hockey segment here.
Sure. Used puck bags.
Hey, shut up! You guys stink. I thought we came here to play hockey.
I knew we forgot something.
Diving in on what's happening with the Chicago Blackhawks.
Oh, God, I love this music. All right. Brings me back to my childhood every time I hear it. All right. So trade deadline was this week. In terms of the Hawks trades, there's 2 things about the Hawks I want to mention. Then there's just one really weird issue that happened in the NHL, and I'm curious if you've ever seen this happen before, Vinny. But the first thing I'll say is the Hawks traded Marc-Andre Fleury, future Hall of Famer goaltender, Good for him. He got traded to Minnesota. They traded him for a conditional first-round pick in 2022. I believe if the Minnesota Wild make it to the conference finals or the semifinals, I can't remember which, and Fleury plays in 4 games, the second-round pick turns into a first-round pick. So the fact that you're trading a 36-year-old goalie and getting a potential first-round pick is pretty good. I'll take that. And go Minnesota Wild. I will pull for them in the playoffs because Marc-Andre Fleury is, from all accounts, they said, an amazing human being. Just one of the good guys in pro sports that, you don't always hear about. The other big trade, which I've gone back and forth, Brandon Hagel, really young guy. I think he was 22 or 23. He has a 3-year contract. He was only making like $1 million or 1.5. They traded him to the Tampa Bay Lightning and they got 2 first-round draft picks for him in 2023 and 2024. So good haul. Kind of weird that if they're rebuilding, you'd think you'd want a guy that's like 22 to be around for the rebuild, but apparently this thing's going to take a little bit longer and they want to, get the first-round picks and draft capital. So I'm not complaining. A lot of Hawks fans were really upset about that, but they're going to be bad.
2 players in return too.
They did. They also got 2 guys they can plug into their lineup right now. I'll be honest, they're 2 guys that I've never even heard of from Tampa. I believe one of them is a bottom 6 forward, and the other one I believe is maybe a second line forward on a good day. So meaning if he's on the Hawks, he'll definitely be on the second line because they don't have much.
Want to say that one of them I read somewhere that he played with somebody on the Hawks. I think the guy that you were talking about in the second line, he was a teammate of one of the Hawks growing up or something like that.
I think you're right. Yes, they got Boris Kachuk and Taylor Radish from Tampa Bay. Let's see. Keeping Radish and Boris Kachuk are former second rounders who are on their first year of their 3-year entry deals. Radish has a higher ceiling as a potential top 6 forward, while Kachuk looks more like a bottom 6 forward with physicality. And I'm trying to find, I'll have to double check. I did hear that about they potentially played with someone in the past
or something like that.
I wouldn't be surprised if it maybe DeBrincat in like junior or something like that.
Yeah,
maybe that's a possibility. So I'm not too shook up about that trade. The thing though that I really want to talk about with the NHL this week that I found absolutely hilarious, and I don't think in my lifetime being into sports I've ever seen anything like this. All right, so last year, a player by the name of Evgeny Dadonov signed with the Ottawa Senators for quite a few years, decent amount of money. He was decent in Florida. He's not a superstar, but he's decent. Signed with Ottawa, and he was given a partial no trade clause. So at the beginning of the year, he writes down 10 teams he refuses to report to. Ottawa says, okay, we will not trade you to those 10 teams. All right, everything seems copacetic so far. Great. This week, trade deadline's up. Ottawa decides they're going to trade Evgeny Dadonov. He submitted his list in the beginning of the year. Vegas was not on his list. So they say, all right, we are trading you to Vegas for someone. No, I take that back. They traded him to Vegas in the offseason. Okay, so he's a Vegas Golden Knight. Great. New season starts. Halfway through the season, Vegas says, we don't really want him. They're going to trade him to the Anaheim Ducks. This is where the trade was completed, and it was sent to the central registry of the NHL on trade deadline, where they have to confirm everything within the contract. The contract is legal and all that crap. Nobody in Vegas knew he had a no movement clause, so he got traded to Anaheim, which was on his 10 teams list. Was traded. And then the next day, the NHL had to look and have a bunch of lawyers look at the contract and decide if they should send him back to Vegas when he now knows Vegas doesn't want him. So they voided the trade, gets him sent back to Vegas, and they say, all right, we expect him to report back. We are excited to have him on the team again, which is bullshit. But so the kicker is, and everyone's blaming each other, is Ottawa never told Vegas last season when they traded him that he had a no movement clause. Vegas never asked if he had a no movement clause, never asked the player, hey, do you have a no movement clause? And just went ahead and traded him. So like 3 organizations all dropped the ball in this. I've never heard of anything like this happening before. I couldn't stop laughing when I saw that they canceled the trade. I've never heard of a trade being voided because of the contract not being followed. Have you? I mean, I've never heard that before.
Yeah, I've never heard anything. Usually you would think that would have been like shared with the
I don't understand
team that, hey, here's his contracts, and
it
someone
says
would have read through
specifically
and said, oh, that'd be something that they check in their department. But Vegas is a new team, so maybe they don't have somebody inexperienced in that department. And someone's getting fired over that.
Vegas is too busy winning all the time, so the legal aspect may be lacking a little bit for them. Because Ottawa's a train wreck, and they have been for about a decade. So it's par for the course that they did not pass that information along to Vegas. But yeah, you would think Vegas would want to get all the specifics before they trade this player, and B, if they're trading for him, they should probably know what's in his contract. So
maybe Ottawa just forgot to attach that part of his contract when they sent it along in the mail, or maybe got lost in the mail.
It's like
they only had a bad PDF copy of it, and it was kind of blurry. And they're like, "Oh, I'm sure he doesn't have a no trade clause."
It was a low resolution. It was like the Homer Simpson quote. You just tell somebody it's your first day, and it just kind of, oh, okay, no big deal, So
yeah, right.
So I'd never seen that. The last hockey thing I can say, and then we can get to our whatever segment, is Jonathan Toews had a lot to say this week about the trade deadline and rebuilding, and there was a little bit of talk about him potentially being moved and Kane potentially being moved this year because they only have 1 year left on their deal after this year. So here's his quotes. I'll be curious to get your take, Vinny. He says, "It's become pretty clear the direction we're heading in is a franchise, and I'm not going to lie, it's pretty disheartening to see a couple of our good friends go regardless of what's to come in the future. I think this group has been through quite a lot this year on and off the ice. Obviously, life's been weird. It's been a lot harder for some people. There have been a lot of challenges that these guys have grown through as a group. And when you kind of cultivate that chemistry and friendship, then the connection with your teammates, I think you want to keep building off of it. So it's definitely disheartening to see some key parts of our lineup traded. I wouldn't say it makes me question it as much as for the longest time, the thought never entered my mind to ever leave the Hawks. He's going to be playing his 1,000th game. In this case, you can't help but picture yourself and what it would be like to play for another team and what that experience would bring. The thought now has popped into your mind, but again, Chicago's my home. I love the Hawks, blah, 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 blah." All right, Toews, I will be forever thank you for your the 3 cup runs. You are not any good anymore. So the reason they have to rebuild is because you can't honor your $10.5 million contract, which is still a pretty high contract. Granted, it was signed like 7-8 years ago at this point. If he was actually any good, they might not be in this spot where they have to constantly rebuild. And, he's going on and on again about how we've been through so much. It's like, well, yeah, but a lot of those things you've been through were as a result of the leadership in the dressing room not doing their job and policing things like, sexual harassment and sexual abuse that Kyle Beach went through. So I don't know about you.
Roasted.
Thank you. I'm just kind of done with Toews. Like, dude, you're not good anymore. And I know for some players that's very hard, but okay. I'll be honest. I was hoping they moved him and Kane because the rebuild needs to start. I'm done with this watching them play like crap, and Kane and Toews are still on the team. I love them for what they've done, but dude, you're part of the problem. You aren't playing well, and you haven't played well for like 3-4 years now. I don't know. Like, am I overreacting, or do you think he's got a point?
No, I think you're right. You're spot on. Like, the whole thing about, we've had a hard time on and off the ice. You've had a hard time.
No, he hasn't had a hard time at all.
Shut up. Like, you have nothing to be talking about. Just he really needs to just be like, own it up to what he did. And just be like, yep, I wasn't as good of a leader as I could have been.
Yeah.
That like
I'm not as good of a player as I could be right now. You know
exactly. Yeah, he's just not owning up to anything. So yeah, just again, they need to. I'm surprised they didn't trade him, but I'm guessing he probably doesn't have a market.
His
out
value,
there, so.
Yeah, his market is next to none, and I can't think of a player in Chicago. Maybe in the major leagues, sports leagues in general, that really, I mean, he's really fallen like a rock. Granted, he missed a lot of time last year from, he had some condition from getting COVID that they had mentioned. So I understand that. And it's going to be difficult to come back. And I know there's like some people are getting long COVID where it affects their ability to bounce back. But don't come out and say like, oh, well, I could really imagine playing somewhere else now. It's like, great. Most of the fans could too, but you're not any good right now. So there's nothing they can do. You know what I mean? So
yeah. The only other name that comes to mind is Jake Arrieta, but he didn't have a long success as Toews did.
Yeah.
In the MLB, he had a short amount of success, and man, did he fall off.
2 seasons, maybe I'd say 3 tops.
Yeah. About two and a half. Yeah. But yeah, it just
well, and he was one too that clearly falling off the rails and refusing to change. Like, nope, I'm good. I'm going to get it back. It's like, no, I don't think so, dude. I really don't think so. Yeah. All right. Well, I just saw Greg entered the Google Docs. I wonder if he'll be making an appearance very shortly. All right. Well, I think we're done with our sports talk. Let's get into our top 5 sitcoms with some whatever.
Now it's time for whatever.
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 Whatever you want. Whatever I want.
Whatever, dude. Irrelevant. Whatever, dude.
I love hearing Charlie and Max say whatever, dude, at the end of that. All right. Thank you, Vinny. So we are going to go top 5 sitcoms. And I guess, Vinny, you and I will just kind of go back and forth. And then once we wrap up, we have 12 people that wrote in about their sitcoms as well. And we can kind of rate whether or not we agree or disagree. Unless you'd like to take the reins, if you want to run the whatever segment.
No,
you
I'm
sure?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good. I'll just let you keep driving.
All right, fair enough. We haven't gone off the rails yet, so we're good for so far. All right, so Vinny, why don't you start us off? What is your number 5? Oh boy, here we go. We have a special guest entering the room.
Uh-oh.
Now it's going off the rails. Hold on.
Yeah.
But so we're going to talk top 5 sitcoms. We didn't really put any stipulations on this. I will admit my list did not include any animated shows, although there are some that I would commit.
No Simpsons.
No, that was tough. I did leave that one off.
Wow.
I guess I'll put it as an honorable mention, but there's a few others that I constantly refer back to. And I watch just because for the most part, the whole series was good as opposed to like the first 8 or 9 seasons for The Simpsons. But here he comes. I think there's a wild Greg Probst that has entered the room. He's back and he's on mute.
Now I'm not.
There he is. Greg, you made it perfect timing. We just hit the drop for whatever.
Oh, wow. All right. So we haven't started or you guys just did?
No, we have not started.
We have not started at all. So we were just talking about, I offered Vinny the chance to drive the whatever segment, but he turned me down.
No, let him drive it. Let him. Vinny,
No. I already pushed it back to Justin. I'm not taking the wheel on this
since you're here, would you like to take over or do you want me to take it since you're just getting in?
No, you go ahead, Justin. Really
right.
quick. I had some 48s. I know you guys probably did it already, but
okay. What do you got for us?
I do remember a Bulls one. So was it Nazim Muhammad? Remember him?
Very nice. We mentioned him.
He finished his career with the Bulls, I think.
He did.
He was a Chicago guy. That's how I remember him. I remember him because he like the guy that like shoved LeBron in the playoffs.
Yes, he did.
Right? Yeah. That's how I remember that.
Made me a fan that day. I know Erica absolutely hated him after that, but that's another story for another day. All right. So, you got any more?
For the Cubs, I had Scott Williamson, former Rookie of the Year. Remember that guy? And
I didn't know he was Rookie of the Year. Holy cow!
With the Cincinnati Reds, like that he was an All-Star and Rookie of the Year, and that was it. By the time he got to the Cubs, he was toast.
That's correct. Yes,
that makes sense.
And then for my White Sox, Alex Colomé. What's his name? Tommy Kahnle, thank you. He's still pitching for the Dodgers, I think, or the Yankees.
No, I didn't have him on my list.
Oh, really? Yeah, I'm pretty sure Tommy Kahnle was definitely 48, and the other guy was, he's back, Hector Noesi. So,
we knew you were going to refer to him. Yeah,
my man,
guy. My man.
Bears, Blackhawks. I have no stinking idea. So
you're good. We got those covered. We're good. So
you missed Esteban Loaiza though.
You did.
Surprised you missed that one.
Oh, okay. So he was during his good years. He was actually 21, but then he had a return year where I think 21 was worn by Don Cooper. Yeah, so he probably took 48 then, which I did not know. So, but he was a 21 when he was good with the Sox, and he was bad. Now he's a prisoner. What was that, cocaine or whatever?
Yeah, I think it was a massive cocaine bust.
He'd probably be good in that league too. I think he's still got some stuff. So
if he's I won't say anymore. All right. Well, we are going to whatever. We didn't really, like I said, we didn't put any stipulations, just top 5 sitcoms, whether that's your standard, one camera, like Friends, or if it's multi-camera, like The Office, or I know some people wrote in and included animated shows, whatever you got, we are taking. So you know what, Vinny, you are ready to go. Vinny, you want to start us off with your number
five?
I should say
Five.
There we go.
Nice.
We have fives. Start us off with the fives, Vinny. What do you got for number 5?
Number 5 for me is The Office.
Wow, 5?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know how I feel about that.
I know. I told you it was going to be a shocker. It was my number 5.
I don't know if I like that at all.
So compared to my other shows, this is one of my criteria is the show itself on the whole had to be well written. And I don't think The Office as a whole was very well written. I think they have very good episodes. I think the heart attack episode is probably one of my favorite episodes in TV history. But the continuity from beginning the like season 1 to the last season is awful.
It's a train wreck by like season 7, season 8 maybe.
Yeah, after Michael leaves, and just Andy's arc is probably one of the worst arcs of any character in TV. Can't stand his character by the end of the show. So yes, it compared to my other shows here, it had to go number 5 because of the arcs of the characters were just bad, and then the Jim and Pam storyline when they're having marriage troubles.
What was the name of the lady that was going to try and like be the interloper? Kathy. She was the worst. You know, the only and I typically, once Michael's off the show, I typically don't watch like when it's in reruns and stuff. Like I refuse to watch it just because it's not good in my opinion.
Yeah.
But the one arc that the one character, the new character that they did redeem was Nellie, was absolutely atrocious the first season or 2 she was on.
Yeah.
But they actually that was the one thing that first run when I actually watched all those when they were new then, like they actually made her redeemable, and I actually liked her character by the end. Because at first I'm like, what are they doing? Like she is
she
awful.
was terrible. You hated her.
Yeah. So that's interesting. I'm very curious now to see where you go 1 through 4. Interesting. Okay. All right. Greg, what do you got for number 5?
All right. I don't know if this is going to double shock you, but number 5 for me is also The Office.
What is going on right now? Holy cow. Jesus.
What the hell is going on?
There you go, Justin.
Thank you.
Oh, perfect. For all the reasons Vinny mentioned, specifically I'll just talk about the Andy Bernard story arc towards the end. You never finished off liking the character. So, and then when you were still, where were they? Stanford, right? When you first meet him, he was annoying, but kind of likable too at the same time because he was a boob. So yeah, that really put a damper on me towards the end after Michael left.
He ended up like. Evil is a strong word, but I don't know what you could use. But downright
just a dickhead.
Vindictive. He was like a vindictive asshole. Like that. Right. That whole arc where he's upset with Pete because Pete's dating Aaron. So then he hires Pete's old girlfriend to do PR or marketing for them. I'm like,
right.
And then he hires Gabe.
Yes, and Gabe's got his little like counter table sitting right next to Aaron in the front lobby area. But
right.
Gabe was a more likable character by the end of the show than Andy was.
He was,
yes.
No, for sure.
I don't. And then the whole thing about him going on a boat and then getting mad at the rest of the staff for not covering for him. I'm like, dude, you were going for months.
Yeah, that was a big moment for sure. Getting back to Gabe, was Gabe ever unlikable? I don't remember. I mean, he was always a weasel. I remember he was not liking
weird.
him.
Yeah,
weird.
I guess kind of in the beginning when he was dating Aaron, maybe because we were hoping like him and or Aaron and Andy, but that's when Andy was still likable. But I mean,
okay,
that's a good point. He wasn't Andy hateable, but he was just kind of like he was annoying. Kind of more like Andy when Andy first started, kind of annoying. He kind of liked him because he was annoying and kind of well, Gabe was more dweeby than annoying. But
exactly. The other thing about The Office for me is that I was kind of like a late bloomer towards it. So I mean, like I started getting into it in high school a little bit when it first came out. I'm talking about seasons 1 and 2 here, and it didn't quite click for me. And it was also very new. That type of comedy was still very new. So I just didn't mold with me. But I think when you get to like I don't know, season 3 through 5, I mean that is just
it's the wheelhouse.
That is just television gold right there. I mean, episode after episode after episode. You just, there's really not a bad one in the bunch.
Yeah, I feel like once they get to season 2, like about the time Michael burns his foot, like I could pretty much watch that season. Like you said, probably pretty much like 5 or 6, maybe right around the time of the Michael Scott Paper Company. And then I feel like then it starts to get more intermittent where there's a couple,
sure,
a couple ones that drop off, but like you said, 3 and 4, like when the branches merge, every single episode is a banger. Like they're all good. There's not really one that you can pull out and be like, oh, that doesn't belong. So
it's fantastic.
Wow. Well, I am shocked to see where this is going to go.
All right, Justin, what about your number 5 now? Why don't you shock
my
us,
number 5? I enjoyed watching this show back in, I think it would have been when I was in high school on Comedy Central. And then recently in syndication, Eric and I have gone through and literally watched the entire series again.
Yeah.
And the movies and everything else. And that is Reno 911.
Oh, okay.
I have such an I enjoyed it back in high school, but I have such more of an appreciation for that show now. And I think now learning and reading more about how it's pretty much all improv. And they just said, hey, here's where we need to end in this scene. Just go. Like that's pretty creative. And like Dangle, I love Dangle. And I love, oh God, what's his name? The guy that wears the bulletproof vest, Junior. I can't remember the rest of his name. Like so stupid, but like just it's great. I love it. And then you have the side characters like Keegan Michael Key is one of the characters that keeps showing up, and it's like, well, what had happened? What is his line? It's like, well, what had happened was, and he just keeps going on these horrible tangents, and then he ends up getting arrested every time. So that's my number 5, Reno 911. I need to go back. We are borrowing Paramount Plus from someone, and I need to go back and watch the Hunt for Q or something like that. They all came back for that mini series where they're trying to find QAnon people and stuff like that. So need to get it sounds like comedy gold to me. So I need to go back and watch that. But yeah, Reno 911 is my 5th favorite sitcom so far.
Nice.
All right, let's hit the 4s.
Number 4. 4?
Okay. We were talking about we're going to try and add some more to lengthen it up a little bit, but we got to find some stuff that they mentioned number 4.
I don't think you found. I maybe I got to resend you the stuff.
You might have to resend me because I lost. We were talking about this earlier. My organization of my external hard drive is not good. So I'm trying to clean it up a little bit while I'm on spring break. So yeah, send me whatever other stuff you have.
Oh, I saved it all.
So, good. I'm glad. So. Vinny, what is your number 4?
Number 4 for me is Seinfeld.
Ooh.
Oh, again, now we're getting crazy.
It's getting weird.
Now we're getting crazy.
Right? Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
Seinfeld, and this is hard. 1 through 4. I could have maybe moved Seinfeld to 3, but my number 3 was a late one too. But I love Seinfeld. I can't say anything bad about it. It's really hard that it's number 4 on my list, but I love that show. The show about nothing. Great characters in the show. I think Jerry's probably the worst of the main characters.
Definitely the worst actor. So
yeah. But I think the episodes were so unique and you can relate to them. Maybe not as much now, but for us, you can still kind of relate because we can still remember what that time was like and the things that went on during that time. Like George trying to call Jerry to tell him that he works for Vandalay Industries and that they're going to call him so he can get his unemployment benefits. But nowadays you just text them.
You just text a guy, right?
But you just you never realize how hard it was. You got to get hold of somebody fast, but it's going to take forever to actually see that person. So I got to call them, but I don't have a phone on me, so I got to find a pay phone.
Yep.
And, stuff like that was just ingenious and just great. It's a great show. I can't really say anything bad about it. But yes, it's number 4 for me, Seinfeld.
Wow. See, now I am shocked.
I am perplexed. I know there's one other one
lock. So
yeah, wow. I've known Vinny for 12 years, 13 years at this point, and I am blown away by these last two responses. All right.
No Obi-Wan impression there. A long time, you know.
That's a name I haven't heard in a long time. No, he's
not good. Dead. Not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not yet. Hopefully not for a long time. All right. Greg, what is your number 4? Please don't break my heart, because Vinny is shattering it over there.
Okay, so my number 4 is a show that I found very relatable, especially growing up. Maybe it's not as much as the shenanigans to the intensity that you see in the show, but definitely with being the ugliest house on the block. That show is Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, man. I totally forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
God.
I think you can watch it on Hulu now, if I'm not mistaken.
You're right. Yeah,
I think it's all there on Hulu. But yeah, as a kid, you know, especially kind of being around the similar age of Frankie Muniz. What the hell was his name?
Frankie Muniz. Yeah, Frankie Muniz. Muniz. Yeah.
Can't remember. Anyway.
Yeah.
Just, you know, you growing up, coming of age, you know, school, crazy family life, definitely different family life than some others, especially going to, you know, kind of like a higher class, you know, public education system versus where I actually lived. So I could definitely feel the differences over there. But the show stealer for me, I mean, Bryan Cranston. I mean, this was all before you know, Walter White in his really big movie and acting career. Before then, he was just kind of sitcoms and then guest appearances.
I was going to say before that, he was just Dr. Tim Watley, right? Like
pretty much.
I can't think of anything else. Yeah,
he was in. It was a lot of guest appearances and stuff, but not kind of like a solidified role, and definitely not the you know, big movie roles, and obviously Breaking Bad. So I think that was one of the first thing when Breaking Bad came out and it was getting all this Emmy recognition, you know, but people before were just like, oh, it's, you know, it's Hal from Malcolm in the Middle. And that's all you could see it as. So
that's what they said during his interview, is the guy from Malcolm in the Middle. There's no way we're going to hire this guy.
Right. Exactly. So he was fantastic. Jane Kasmerick is Lois. Yes. I mean, she is just phenomenal, and just, you know, you're true. I mean, that's where you really believe like a real mom is, with, you know, like 4 boys in the end, or 5 in the end, pretty much, wasn't it? Yeah. So just and then I don't know if I have a favorite. They're all my favorite, but I love, you know, Reese and Dewey too, obviously.
Oh yeah, those Dewey was
character.
Great.
Yeah, he was
such a good character.
He was fantastic. So Malcolm in the Middle, my number 5. I was hoping to surprise you guys with that one.
That is a surprise. So, that's not one. That is one that I remember growing up watching. But after it kind of, you know, after a certain amount of seasons, I kind of fell off and then never really picked it back up. I'll have to give that another
it actually
definitely do.
Rewatching it again, like I did a year or two ago, on, like I said, on Hulu or whatever, like it never really slowed down. Like it was pretty solid throughout. The entirety of it, which was very surprising, because like you, Justin, you know, I have trouble remembering, you know, a lot of the later episodes, but then revisiting it, I'm like, oh yeah, it's good all the way through. So
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, there's not many shows that have that wherewithal to be consistent throughout the entire series. So I can definitely get on board with that. All right, cool. All right, my number 4. This is a series that I watched this in high school and then kind of started watching it again in syndication, or I think it's on Hulu actually. And listening to the podcast by the two main stars as well. And that is Scrubs. I love Scrubs. The first 5-6 seasons, and then once they brought on like the new cast, it really went downhill. I think they changed networks too, and that was it. So those first 5 or 6 seasons, I could turn that on and watch it anytime. And there's a few episodes that definitely I've seen multiple times because for whatever reason, and they really did a great job of balancing that like slapstick comedy, dry comedy, but then there was also like really serious, heartfelt moments. Obviously, being in a school, like not a school, hospital. I got work on the brain. Being in a hospital, right? Like I remember there was one episode in particular that I've seen numerous times, and for no particular reason, that's what I caught. And I don't know if you guys really got into the show, but it was one where there were 3 patients, and they were in need of organ transplants, and they did not have organs for them, and they tried so hard. They finally got, somebody had recently passed away from something in the hospital that was an organ donor. They took these transplants, and Dr. Cox, played by what's his name? I can't think of his name now.
Zach Braff?
No, not Zach Braff. He's also the other.
Oh, sorry.
He's the asshole doctor. I can't think of his name. He's in Office Space too. He's one of the consultants. But anyway.
John.
John C. Reilly.
No,
not John C. Reilly. John McGinley. John McGinley.
McGinley, yeah. John C. McGinley, yeah.
John C. McGinley. There we go. I knew I was close. Damn it. Yeah. But anyway, he's so excited. He's like, I got this victory. And then it turns out, for whatever reason, I don't know if I would assume in real hospitals they would do the screening, but it turns out all these organs were no good because the person that died didn't know he had rabies. So all these victims ended up dying. Like, it was a really dark episode. And for whatever reason, that one really sticks in my mind. And it was just so good because John C. McGinley's character in that show is just this complete asshole, always messing with Zach Braff's character. And you see him being on like this complete high of, we got these organs, we're going to save these 3 people. And then like within the next commercial break, like he goes into like this deep, dark depression. And I want to say they kind of spun his character like in an arc where like he was taking time off because he was really struggling with it. So really good show. Zach Braff and Donald Faison's podcast where they go through each episode is really good. And I can't think of the actor. He's a little bit older that played Dr. Kelso is excellent. The guy that plays the janitor is awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who there's an episode all about him trying to convince Zach Braff that he was in the movie The Fugitive. And he really was in the movie The Fugitive. And then Zach Braff's like,
that one.
He's like, I don't believe you. You weren't in a movie. And he's like, yes, I was. I played a police officer. Yeah. And that's just the whole episode. So that's my number 4. Great show. Up until a point, and then it really falls off a cliff.
Yeah,
like most shows.
I've actually never seen an episode of that show, but I've heard nothing but great things about it. So, and Ashley loves it too. So yeah, that's I might have to check
it's
out.
One
Scrubs
where
finally.
I've asked Erica numerous times because I always forget when we watch it. I'll be like, is that what it's like really like in a hospital? And from what I've read and from her saying, she's like, that's probably the closest to what.
Oh, okay.
In terms
I've
of
heard
like
that too.
The closest that most sitcoms or like your ERs and dramas and stuff like that. This silly comedy is the closest it got to really being like in a school. So, did it again. Damn it. Close to being in a hospital.
He slips over.
I'm going to have to edit that in post so I don't sound like a complete moron. So that is my number 4.
Too late, Justin.
Too late. Damn it. Yeah, I'm not staying up any later to edit this. We are ready for our number 3s.
And we're the 3 best friends that anybody could have.
3 more ticks and Mr. Goldfinger would have hit the jackpot. 3.
All right. So here we go. That. Vinny, what is
it? Beautiful.
Vinny, I don't even know what to say. I don't know what the hell your 3 could be. So Vinny, what's your 3?
My number 3 is Home Improvement.
What? Really?
Yes.
All right.
Improvement.
All right. Let's hear it. Let's talk about it.
This was a late one. I totally forgot about this one, but I absolutely love this show. The first season was actually very solid and actually had a lot of adult humor, but then I think they wanted it to be more family friendly. And they kind of lost that adult humor that they had in the first season.
Yeah.
But I think any of us can relate to Tim Taylor and just doing projects around the house and things breaking.
He's our dad. All 3 of us have him pretty much as a dad.
Pretty much, except maybe to the extent where we don't get hurt, or our dads don't get hurt.
None of our dads had a coke problem like he did in the 70s and 80s. So
yeah, that too.
Yeah, my dad might have, but I don't know. He doesn't talk much. So
that's true. He doesn't. He's the quietest out of all 3.
So who the hell knows? So anyway,
but I absolutely love this show. When it was on Hulu, I rewatched every episode, and I remember pretty much every one from when I was growing up. All the characters in the show are great. I don't think there's a bad one. To the humor between Tim and Al, where Tim's making fun of his mother, is hilarious. And I think there was the one episode where they're out to dinner, and Al tells his mom that he's getting engaged, and his mom has a heart attack.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
And the whole place shakes, Oh my god, it was great. The Wilson not seeing his face
Yes.
was always great. You were always hoping you were going to see his face, and they didn't show it until the last episode when they did the curtain call.
Yep.
Then you got to see his face. I thought that show was great. The kids were relatable as I'm finding that out. Slowly but surely with my son and just some of the things that they do in that show. Yeah, I that made number 3 for me, and that was a late one that I added it today. But yeah, I love that show, and it's my number 3.
Excellent.
That's amazing.
That's one that was like must see TV in the 90s. I remember my parents, my mom, my dad, my sister, and we would sit down and watch that on like if it was Tuesday or Thursday night, whatever ABC's. I remember it was on ABC at least, but there was one episode in particular I remember, 2 actually. The first one was they go on like I think they're going on a family reunion, but on the side Tim takes the kids like skiing and stuff, and they go on skiing on a lake, and then he takes Jill skiing, and I want to say he takes her off one of the jump ramps. Holy shit. Off one of the jump ramps, and like she ends up in like a full body cast or something. Or
yeah,
I remember that, and then I remember Home Alone and oh my god,
man.
Home Improvement in particular. You could tell if it was going to be like a slapstick episode or if it was going to be one of those real serious drama ones, because they would run the promo and it would be like on an all new Home Improvement, a very touching tale. And I remember there was the one where they thought Randy had like cancer. Do you remember that? But Tim's like, oh, well, hopefully it's just a goiter. And it's like an 8-year-old. I had no clue what a goiter was.
Right. Seinfeld didn't teach you what a goiter was at that point?
I missed that episode as a kid. So, but that is a good pick. And like you said, Al is he held that show together. He was awesome. So,
there
you go. All right, cool. Greg, what's your number 3?
It's also Home Improvement.
All right, Greg.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. This could have been a 1 in my game. And the reason this is so high up on my list too is because it is something that, that's been with me ever since I was a kid too. Like I watched this as a kid, and then like you said, Vinny, when it was on Hulu, just all the way through, and it's absolutely tragic that this is like nowhere right now. It's not any streaming service. I can't even get it on like YouTube TV. I searched the show and it's just nowhere to be seen. Same thing when I had Fubo. But anyways, yeah, I mean, Al Borland, Tool Time, my favorite. I mean, it was just like almost the show within the show that you just absolutely love because you knew something hilarious was going to go wrong. And, I just love how Tim is all gung-ho about improving anything. And I get that too, just making anything, going above and beyond, making anything to max power. I love that he has hobbies, working on the hot rod, everything like that, while raising 3 kids. And, God bless Jill putting up with all of this. She's almost like a super mom in the show, dealing with all of Tim's, crap. She's almost like a Marge Simpson in her own way, just with the buffoon husband. And Wilson just as that neighbor, and the hiding the face gag, and he's just like this genius of a man, the scholar, quoting Confucius, and all these geniuses throughout history, and it's always like he's the problem solver. Like they go to him for and like they just change their ways. Like Wilson solves the problem. Like that's kind of like what he was there for. So I still remember that Halloween episode when the Halloween episodes. Yeah, he was murdered or something. Like, do you remember that one?
Oh yes, I do.
Yeah,
yes,
and it ended up being a prank on Tim at the end. Spoiler alert. So that episode's another episode I like too is just like, I think it's just Tim and Al, but when they go like ice fishing on the lake.
Oh yeah,
that little shanty or whatever.
Yep.
And I think it ends up just getting totally destroyed in the end or something like that.
Yeah, I think it ends up blowing up or something because they leave a heater on. But Tim fell through the ice or something like that. I was going to say the one episode that I can relate to whenever I'm doing a project is the one where they redo the bathroom.
Oh,
and like he's like, oh, it's going to be a couple days.
Yeah.
2 shows and we'll be done. And it ends up being like a month or something.
Yeah.
I forgot how long. It's just like an extend. And I always feel like that's always me with my projects. When I'm thinking of something, I'm like, oh, it's going to take me, that'll be a weekend project. And
Right.
it's like a month later, I'm still working on it. Gretchen's asking me, when are you going to finish this? Oh,
Yeah.
I got to do this, and this still.
Right. Yep. never goes like that. So
Exactly.
Good call.
Oh man, love that show. I miss that show. Like I said, I wish it was on.
I know.
If that was on a streaming service, as soon as it's over, I would go up and watch that right now. Swear to God.
I know.
So,
I got rid of Hulu because of that. They got rid
Did you? Yeah.
got rid of it on Hulu.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm done with it.
it was
Send it a message, Vinny.
It's almost like a year now. Good for you. Good for you
Yeah.
sending that message. Yeah, that is damnable, but not even on Peacock or anything. I can't remember the original network it was on, but yeah, it just sucks that you can't find it anywhere.
Good call. Good call. All right. My number 3, you guys have mentioned this already, but my number 3 is Seinfeld. I remember as a kid in grade school watching this, it would be on reruns. It would go, Simpsons was on at 5 and 5:30, and then Seinfeld was on at 6. So we would watch that during dinner. And, as a 10, 11-year-old, I just loved, I thought the humor was hysterical. Characters. George is probably my favorite. Just, I identify with George the most. Maybe being a short, stocky guy.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
It's probably not. It's probably not. But
he's definitely the most. He has the biggest arc, maybe, or he has the most written about him. You could say, he's done the most. Maybe I don't know, but him
and obviously, his parents are some of my favorite characters.
Oh,
and just the Lago Vista Lago Vista, is that right? No,
Del Boca Vista.
Del Boca Vista.
Yeah,
sorry,
retirement community.
Lago Vista is a retirement community about 20 minutes from here. Del Boca Vista, and
maybe the Costanzas are there.
They might.
Right?
They might be. I know
that phone call when Frank calls
my
Marty
God,
to tell him he's moving in is one of the funniest moments too. It is just so
we're
basic.
moving in lock, stock, and barrel.
Yep.
If you think you can keep with, if we'll see you at the shuffleboard, or
Yep.
if you think you can keep us out, just whatever. So, just so many that is a show that I can literally just turn it on random, and whatever episode comes on. Maybe some of the very first season, is a little rougher, but after that, even the later seasons where they get really, really goofy, I can appreciate those too. And I love Larry David. I really need to give Curb Your Enthusiasm a shot because I love Seinfeld.
So do I. I started that show and I never followed through, but it was really funny with what I saw. There's no good reason not to, keep or why I stopped watching it. But if I've heard it's like, if you love Seinfeld, you're going to love Curb. So.
All right, cool. Well, I will definitely give that a look. Let's move on to our number 2s.
Finally, we come to my number 2 man. His name, number 2.
That's 2.
Yeah, I gotta fix that. It cuts off. I should have just left it and said that's 2. That's far shooter. All right. Vinny,
is that what it was? That's great.
That's from Happy Gilmore. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Vinny, what is your number 2?
It's Always Sunny.
Oh, good choice. Good choice.
Okay, there it is.
Yeah, I absolutely love this show. I know we've done a couple Slime 5s on it. The characters in the show, all of them are great. They're all solid top to bottom. The stuff they talk about on the show, there's no way they'd be able to, if they started from episode 1 today.
Oh no,
they'd be able to do it. Just with everything that they talk about in the show, but it's so funny just because it's like satirical.
That's how I think they get away with a lot of the stuff, especially some of the recent stuff that they've done that I was like, whoa. And I think they kind of, it's a satire. And if you don't, I think there'd be an uproar about it, but yeah, Vinny, you're spot on.
Yeah. And I think this past season's been really strong. They did have because it wasn't number 1 on my list. I know that there were some episodes that weren't as good. Like the one where they talk about Frank and his brother and Shady Nasty. That episode was, that one was so, I could have done without that episode. That season on the whole, I thought was kind of weak. I remember that one not being that good, but they've picked it back up. And this last season was hilarious.
Yeah,
them going to Ireland.
Yes, I really thought they nailed it, the whole going to Ireland thing. Because when I heard, I'm like, that's the whole season this season. And granted, it was even shorter than normal, wasn't it? It was like 7 or 8 episodes instead of 10, 6 maybe
episodes.
But they did a pretty good job doing a whole season in
meatball
Ireland.
And the soup was hilarious.
Go ahead, Frank, eat it.
Yeah.
Chew it, Frank. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Good stuff.
But yeah, it's just a great show, and I can't say anything bad about any of the characters. They're all just deplorable human beings, and just Frank's arc of just total destruction,
descent into madness. Yeah,
has been great. That's been such a great arc, and everybody else has been great just as well too. But yeah, so number 2 for me is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
It's one of those shows where anytime I talk about stuff like that with somebody and they've never watched it, I'm like, okay, you know Seinfeld? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, do you like Seinfeld? And they're like, yeah. And I go, well, okay, picture Seinfelds, but make them like 10 times more horrible human beings. And you have the idea. Like anything that you're like, oh, even the Seinfeld cast wouldn't do that, because there's a little shred of decency in those characters. There is no decency in any of those characters. They are willing to go above and beyond to come out on top, and they never do. You know what I mean? That's the best part about it. So good pick, number 2. All right, Greg, what's your number 2?
All right, number 2 for me, again, could have been my number 1. And the reason it's not my number 1, I'll explain to you when I do tell you my number 1. But my number 2 is The Simpsons.
Oh, good choice. Okay.
I mean, The Simpsons. Yeah, I don't know where you guys are on that, but that is, oh God, I freaking love The Simpsons. If Disney Plus did not have
anything
Disney
else,
movies, Star Wars, or anything of that sort, I would still buy it if it had The Simpsons, because I live off that, complete series there on Simpsons. Just pop on any episode I want it anytime. If I have, time to watch it, which I, will maybe like late at night or something like that, fall asleep to an episode. But
sure.
Yeah, no, The Simpsons as a kid, I mean, that is just something that I'll, just the Homer's line, whoever else. And what I really loved about it too, is that so many of my friends were not allowed to watch it.
Really?
I was.
Interesting.
So I could tell them, what was going on in the show. Hey, guess what Bart did? Guess what I saw in this week's, because I stuck up, North Shore parents or something like that. And hey, my child shall not watch that show. So it was just more of that thing.
On the north side of Chicago.
Yeah, they might as well be. So
and it's a good thing I never ventured north of the Loop as a kid.
I remember the time that the PTA disbands the school, or the school shuts down. There's the fight between the union and the administration, which is very real in real life.
Oh, it's eerily real, eerily close to real life. Yes.
Or then when Bart gets inspired to write a comic, and he writes Angry Dad, and he's inspired by the guest speaker at the school, who's writing the Danger Dog comic. And I remember telling my friends, why does this mean more to me than school and church? And they go, because those things suck.
That's
one of my favorite lines from The Simpsons. But yeah, I mean, the good thing about it too is that it's it was pretty wholesome too, at least there for a while. And I'll just bring it up now. The reason it is not my number 1 is because there's so, maybe more of it is actually bad than good.
Unfortunately, they've gone way past that threshold now.
Right. And they're on season 33. I mean, it's as old as Vinnie and I pretty much.
Season 10 is my cutoff. So, I mean, a third of it's good. The other 2/3, maybe it's gotten better. I don't know. But the other 2/3, I just don't watch.
I haven't even given it the time. And but that core section, from whether it's 4 or 5 to 10, like you said, Justin, is just pure, comedy.
Every single episode
enjoyment.
Is spot on.
You can just get something from everything before it became what it is now. I don't even know what you would describe it now, but
it's funny. I remember as a kid watching that from the get-go when it first started, because I had like the Bart Simpson like sweater, and I remember do the Bart Man. Like, I don't know, you guys might be too young to remember that, but that was like on the radio and all that. And I remember we would sit down and watch it as a family on like Sunday nights or whatever. I think it was Sunday nights on Fox. Yep. And there was one episode in particular, and Greg, maybe you know this better than I, because I haven't checked in on Simpsons lately. But it was probably like somewhere in like the 4th, 5th, 6th season. And it was like a special episode, like with Troy McClure kind of hosting.
Yeah.
And at the end, he's like, all right, thanks for watching. And now we're here what for all our Fox viewers are for hardcore nudity. And they show like all the Simpsons, like in episodes where they've been naked.
Yeah.
And I just remember as the credits are rolling, and I still remember, I was like probably 6 or 5. And I remember my mom going like, well, you're not watching this anymore. Click it off. And we did not watch the Simpsons at all until I was
are you
probably
serious?
10 or 11. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then finally, once it was in syndication, I was in like 6th, 7th grade. We watched all the time. We watched it at dinner, and my parents got over that. But I guarantee you, my parents are listening, and they don't have any memory of that. But that is burned into my brain for some reason.
Sure, yeah. That's so funny.
Yeah,
that's so because I remember that exact same episode when they do like the nudity scenes, and my mom was watching it with me.
God!
And she's just dying laughing.
That's too funny.
So, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I guess it's all right. So
I think if I had been more like in grade school, but like I said, I was probably like 5, maybe 6, and I don't know. But whether or not that was the right call, I don't know if that was. But yeah.
So I mean, it's something that I'll go back to. It's something I could watch anytime again within that window span. And one thing I want to touch on too, I think a lot of they had such a huge library of guest stars on.
Yes,
that show.
They did.
I mean, from such a wide range, almost you could pick a figure in Hollywood. There's a good chance they were, on the
and musical guests too.
Yeah, when they got Michael Jackson early on and everything. So.
Yeah. Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah, Smashing Pumpkins.
Hello, so, I'm Homer smiling politely.
I still remember I was so happy when they got what's his name? David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson.
Oh God, that's a great episode.
Scully, the Mr. Burns Alien Springfield Files episode.
I bring you peace.
It's bringing peace. Don't let it get away. Break its legs.
Or even like the episode with U2 where they're beating up Homer on stage.
That's trash of the Titans.
He'll get the help he needs, everybody.
Right. They're kicking the bouncers are beating his ass backstage. So good. Yeah, Trash of the Titans. That was a great episode. So many good ones in that window there.
Call.
So my number 2, Simpsons.
All right. My number 2, same as Vinny's. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I remember starting to watch this at the end of high school, beginning of college, and kind of falling off just because I didn't get around to finishing it. And then once I started dating your sister, Vinny, like she got me hooked, and I was locked in. And there's just so many episodes. I've probably seen some like probably close to 40, 50 times. Like the gang goes to the Grand Canyon. I have never heard my dad laugh so hard when I said, hey, you got to watch this show. And he was dying. The gang buys a boat. We've talked about.
So it's on the pod, Slime 5.
Yep. What do you do in the fire? What do you do with the fire? What? Fire's getting bigger. The episode where they go to the water park. And oh my God. If you, I will explain this for those. Greg, have you ever heard about the water park episode?
No, I think I've seen the one about.
Okay,
that's not the one about the pool, right? Like the fancy pool or something.
No,
they have to go to the pool.
Okay, so I will very briefly because I know we're running long. The water park episode is probably one of my new favorites. It's them going to the water park. It's packed because it's summer. And Frank, Danny DeVito, and then Charlie, their mission is to go on every single slide. Okay. Every single body slide, every tube slide, whatever. And they realize it's not going to happen. And as they're sitting in line, they realize that this one little boy who's very frail looking and just not very
good health or
medically well, I guess you could say. He's sick. Hey, thank you, Vinny. I don't know why I'm struggling to say he's sick. Is passing everyone. Words. I'm very bad with words today. He passes all of them. And Charlie's like, whoa, what the hell? Where's this kid going? And the sponsor that's with this little boy goes, well, he's from like Make-A-Wish, or he's terminally ill, and he gets to go to the front of the line. So again, to show you just how deplorable these two individuals are, they literally they have Charlie give Frank a bunch of hickeys, and then he just goes around screaming, I have AIDS, let me through. And they cut to the front of every single line so that they can do the slides. And then the kicker of that episode is something happens. I won't spoil it. Frank starts bleeding, and he's in the pool bleeding, and he's been yelling and telling everyone he has AIDS all episode. So everyone freaks out that there's blood in the pool. And that's how the episode ends. And again, if you've never seen the show, I sound like a horrible human being for enjoying this show, but it's clearly satirical, and it's how far can these people sink just to get what they want. And that is why it is my number 2. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So there you go.
Nice.
All right.
Very good.
We've made it to the number 1. This is it.
Should we go through?
Oh yeah. Honorable mentions or write-ins. What do you want to do? Or both?
Both. How about both? Should we start with the write-ins?
Yeah, let's start with the write-ins. I can take the first one. Eric wrote in. He said Community, which Community is another show I really want to get into.
Yeah.
The Office, love it. Parks and Rec. I think Parks and Rec is one of those shows where it was consistently good for every single season. That's definitely on my honorable mentions list as well. 30 Rock, Scrubs, and his honorable mention, Happy Endings, which I have never seen. I do not know what Happy Endings is. I'll have to check that out.
I don't know either.
All right.
That was a good list. Dan writes in Arrested Development. I've never seen that, or I should say I've seen it, but I've seen like an episode or 2.
Yeah.
News Radio.
That was a good one. Phil Hartman and Phil Hartman was on that until he passed away.
Oh, is that the one that Joe Rogan's on too?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before Joe Rogan lost his mind. Yeah.
Yes. The Office, It's Always Sunny. Oh, The League. I forgot about that one. That's a good one too. Although that one, God, later on that one just got bad.
Never
started
saw
talking about fantasy football.
Yeah, 4 or 5 seasons or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Lasted. Yeah.
Yeah.
I fell off that show.
Dan also writes, also totally left out Roseanne. Many of these best wouldn't be possible without classics like All in the Family.
That's
All in the Family was a very good one.
I don't know about you guys. Roseanne is one we never got into at our house.
No,
I couldn't.
We watched a little Roseanne.
Can you see Pretzel Vince liking a Roseanne show?
No. Not at all.
Yeah, I never got into it because usually my parents controlled what we watched on TV.
I mean, I like John Goodman as an actor, but that show, I don't know. I know it was supposed to be more like a lower middle class or lower class, like to kind of appeal to that, which my family wasn't rich by any means. I mean, we may do, but that was one we never really got into. So I don't know.
Yeah, that one was just always on. Like we watched it when there was like nothing else
to
do, I guess. So yeah, but other than that, that was about it for us. Erica writes in number 5, I Love Lucy. 4, Dick Van Dyke. Can you say those words on the radio?
No.
3, Friends. 2, Always Sunny. 1, The Office. Well, deep cuts, a lot of classic television there. I Love Lucy, Dick Van Dyke, incredible right there.
Yeah, good
Friends.
stuff.
I was waiting for Friends to pop up. So
Friends is one I like the early episodes of Friends more than the later episodes, but that is one I hated that show as a kid, and now I can appreciate.
Here's a hot take: Friends is overrated.
Wow,
burn him!
Your sister's going to be looking for you after this,
right?
All right, Lynn, your mom wrote in, Vinny. She said number 5, Schitt's Creek. Yes, I would agree. Schitt's Creek is an excellent show. Number 4, The Honeymooners. The Honeymooners.
Really quick, Justin.
Yes,
Vinny. This might be a hot take. I do not like Schitt's Creek.
Really?
I know you don't.
I don't think it's funny.
I didn't like it the first time I watched it.
I don't know what it is. It doesn't work for me. I don't know. No.
It's definitely different.
Remind you of all the North Side people because they're so rich. You should enjoy that because then they get what's coming. They get their up and comings, and they're broke.
Maybe it's a Canadian thing. I don't know.
Oh, maybe that's why I like it more is because they're all Canadian.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know
why.
I don't know that everyone loves that show. It doesn't work for me. I don't know. Anyway, continue. Just had to throw that in there.
The Honeymooners, I believe it's kind of cool. There's only like 20 something episodes, right? Like it wasn't a super long show. 30 episodes?
Well, it comes in one box set. Yeah.
It was like really
there's
short.
one box set, but there's a ton of episodes.
Okay, I take that back then.
I think it was Amazon Prime has episodes on there, and they had, because I was going to show Gretchen the show, and she's never seen it, and so we went, and I was like, oh, they got like all of these episodes on Amazon Prime, and started playing them. Well, they had a different Alice. and who's Ralph Cramden's wife.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh wait, this isn't the Honeymooners I remember. So yes, I think the box sets you guys know about are just kind of like the hits.
Okay.
There's a ton of episodes though.
It says here that there are 39 episodes total in the perennial run of the show, and it actually only lasted 1 year, and that was it. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
And maybe it was part of
I thought.
Maybe it was that they got so many episodes in 1 year and then they were done. That might be what I'm thinking.
Well, I think there was I think it might have been because John Gleason or Jackie Gleason had his own show, and so maybe they had skits or something. I don't know, but I just remember there were a bunch on Amazon Prime that I had never seen before.
It sounds like he said he decided to end the show early because he wanted to leave while it was still on the top of the charts. He didn't want to wait until the show was failing before calling it quits. I knew what we were doing was good, so let's end it. So, okay. She also says honorable. Number 3, Office. Number 2, Friends. And number 1, Dick Van Dyke. My dad's and hers favorite. We watched it all the time. Honorable mentions: Parks and Rec, Modern Family, Seinfeld, and Everybody Loves Raymond.
Cool.
Nice.
There you go. All right. You want to take your dad's, Vinny?
Sure. Pretzel Vince writes in number 5, Taxi. Number 4, The Odd Couple. Number 3, All in the Family. Number 2, Dick Van Dyke. And number 1, Honeymooners. And his honorable mentions are Schitt's Creek, WKRP, Get Smart, Parks and Rec, Night Court, and he also says this was difficult. Yes, it was.
I don't know the show. This was difficult. Never heard of it.
Right?
Should have let me read that one. I will admit, Vinny, I am shocked that your dad likes Schitt's Creek. That just doesn't seem like his thing. But
he loves that show.
He loves that show. Yeah,
he's a big Eugene Levy fan.
Is he? Okay, I didn't realize that. Okay,
I can't say big, but I know he likes the stuff that Eugene Levy's been in, like American Pie. I think
can see your dad
really
like an
liked his
American
character
Pie.
in that. So
fair enough.
So that part I think he likes.
All right, Greg, go ahead.
The doc is in. Dr. Mantis Toboggan returns to the show. Number 5, Rick and Morty. Number 4, Arrested Development. Number 3, The Office, the U.S. version. Number 2, It's Always Sunny. Number 1, Parks and Rec. And honorable mentions, Letterkenny. I know you like that show, Justin, don't you?
I do. The new season just came out. It's good. It's definitely very Canadian and very like hockey.
It's interesting.
It's unique.
I watched it based on your recommendation.
Didn't like it, did you?
That's what I said. I went,
What is my brother-in-law talking about? It's definitely an acquired taste, and there's some arcs that I'm like, this is really weird, or there's some characters I'm like, no, not vibing with that. But I can totally. Like I said, I like it. Definitely not at my top because I haven't even gotten around to watching the new season. So.
Well, we could have Dr. Mantis Toboggan on. You guys can talk about Letterkenny. So
there you go.
Correct. And you and him can talk about Letterkenny.
He's been trying to get me to watch that show for years. I haven't done it yet. No.
It's
different. I don't know
it's very Canadian. And then they get into like the whole French Canadian aspect and what do you want to call them? The Quebecois, the people from Quebec or Quebec, I guess you could say. And that's a whole different dynamic.
Or like Jim Carr Quebec in Slapshot from Northern Quebec.
Yes.
South Park, Friends, Schitt's Creek. Another Schitt's Creek. I'm literally on I'm Lonely Island over here. With
yes, you are
anti Schitt's Creek. That's okay.
South Park is another one. I'd say in the last 5-6 years, I've really gotten back into South Park. I really enjoy that show, and I love how no one is safe. They don't care whether you're a certain side of the political aisle, a certain side on medical stuff, whatever. They're gonna take aim at everyone, and I really appreciate that. So. All right. Ashley wrote in and said Abbott Elementary, which Abbott Elementary is like 6 episodes in and is really good. I really like it.
Loves it.
It's a really accurate depiction of working in a school. See, I'm glad I didn't say hospital that time.
Maybe I need to check this out.
I would. There's some good stuff there. She also says The Office. It's on Hulu and ABC.
Don't have that.
Hulu and ABC.
Vinny canceled that shit. No test.
Office, Friends, Home Improvement, Seinfeld, not in that order because I love them all. Honorable mention would be Modern Family, the earlier seasons, Home Improvement.
ignore that because
Okay.
I added that in because these were late submissions from her. So
and Dick Van Dyke. Okay. I got to agree with her on Modern Family. We were really into the early seasons, but that show really fell off a cliff too.
100%.
We didn't finish that show, I don't think. Or maybe we did. I don't remember, but
I didn't care for it towards the end, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, everybody just kind of became
bad, but I think we cut cable, so we never really were able to keep up with it.
It just kind of became, the characters kind of became like caricatures of themselves. Like they just really played up like the things that made them funny, like they amped it up to like 11, and it's like no realistic person is going to act like that. And that's not what that show's
like
all
Friends.
about. Yeah, kind of, yeah. But not as good as Friends. All right.
No.
I'm waiting to see what Vinny's thoughts. Okay. What do we got? Zach. Vinny, you want to take Zach?
His first one is amazing. Go ahead, Vinny.
My Name is Earl. Parks and Rec, Saved by the Bell, Arrested Development, and Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh my God. My Name is Earl.
I never watched that show ever.
That show was so dumb, but it was like
Jason Lee, right?
Yeah, it was like weird, funny. I don't know how to describe it. I don't remember.
Was that on Comedy Central? Was that what it was on, or TBS?
It was on TV. Well, it might have been.
I thought it was on NBC. Was it NBC originally?
Oh, I just remember. Maybe I watched it on syndication on TBS. Yeah,
and then I think it might have been on Comedy Central for a little. Comedy Central like had Schitt's Creek for like a month, and then they must have lost it because that was gone too. I don't know what was going on there, but yeah.
My Name is Earl. I remember watching that show. This was so weird.
All right, who's up next?
Mike writes in. Coach.
Oh, no, that's a show I remember.
That was Craig T. Nelson, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
that was
Nelson,
that.
When that came on, it's like, it's time to go to bed when I was a kid. That's all I knew it was time.
I don't know if I gave Coach a fair shot. I remember it.
I remember Craig T. Nelson, and then you had not Dick Van Dyke. It was Dick Van Dyke's dad, Jerry Van Dyke, I think.
Oh, okay.
Jerry Van Dyke was the assistant coach,
Oh,
and then you had the guy that was like the offensive coordinator, and he had like the surfer haircut, like blonde hair down to hair, and he kind of talked like this. And hey, coach, there you go. Hey, you guys. I know that's what you're thinking.
Oh man. Yeah, no, never really gave Coach a fair chance.
Fair shake.
Probably never will. But,
that's on syndication on like Me TV or something like that.
Oh, Me TV.
Because I used to put that on to help me fall asleep at night before Maddie was born. So
Me TV is like the old.
It is. It's awesome.
It's
like the old Nick at Night.
Right.
I don't even know if
much.
Nick at Night exists anymore. So
pretty much. Home Improvement, Friends, Step by Step, Saved by the Bell.
Step by the Step was another one. Yeah.
I don't
Step by Step, Justin, not by the step.
Yeah, I don't know what show that is, but I've never seen
had Suzanne Summers.
Step. I've never seen an episode of Saved by the Bell either.
I've watched some. I never really got into it though.
Yeah, never seen
Ashley
it.
never made you watch an episode?
No, but when I told her that a couple hours ago, she was like, she
got really mad.
Yeah, she
made
was like,
the mistake there.
He's like, you suck. So that's pretty.
I know what you're doing this weekend.
So,
yeah. Gretchen wrote in Seinfeld, Will and Grace, Friends, New Girl. New Girl's a really good show. I really enjoy New Girl.
It is.
Winston Bishop, arguably the best character on that show. Winnie the Bish.
Gonna have to disagree.
What are you gonna go with?
Him and Nick Miller.
Nick Miller is pretty good. Nick Miller's pretty good. And I Love Lucy, another classic there. So all right.
Yeah.
All right, two more left.
Robin writes in number 5, That 70s Show. Number 4, The Monkees. You had to, or was it? They had a show in the 60s.
They did have a show in the 60s.
That. Yep, I've actually seen that on Me TV. I think they had that on like a Saturday afternoon.
Good old Me TV.
Yep. Number 3, Everybody Loves Raymond. Number 2, King of Queens. Number 1, Friends. Honorable mentions: It's Always Sunny, The Office, Mary Tyler Moore, Scrubs, Boy Meets World, Rules of Engagement. All of those honorable mentions she has are better than Friends.
Wow. I'll be honest. I did not know my mom has ever watched Boy Meets World. I'm going to have to ask her about that because I didn't grow up watching
that. Was a very good show.
Yeah, I watched it a little bit too. Rules of Engagement, I even watched a little bit too. You guys remember that? There was like David Spade.
David Spade
the other guys.
Was David Putty in that, or is that a different show?
Yeah, no, Patrick
Warburton.
Yes, thank you. Yes,
I didn't know she watches. Gosh, I'm learning more about my mom.
That show wasn't that terrible. Until she said it right there. I'm like, oh, I forgot about that.
That 70s show was one.
That was like an. Oh, go ahead, Justin.
No, go ahead, Greg. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that was like some old like WCIU stuff.
Yes.
Like 26. Rules of Engagement.
UPN stuff like that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Oh God, UPN.
That's
you're ancient, Justin.
I know. Don't get me started. UPN was not UPN. That 70s show was one that I was really into, but that was one too where I feel like the quality really dropped off after especially after Eric left, and then I know they had to get a different character to play his sister because she had some drug issues, and then unfortunately she passed away.
Yeah,
and then they brought in a different character to replace Eric, and he was awful.
Yeah, I forgot the actor's name, Josh something or whatever.
Yeah, it wasn't.
And then
good.
they kind of gave Tommy Chong a bigger role as Leo a little bit. He was kind of in it more.
Speaking of Home Improvement, there is an episode that Richard Karn guests on where he plays a carpenter.
Yeah.
And he's going to redo the foreman's basement. And then what happens is he gets high with Tommy Chong's character, and they just move everything over 1 inch. And he's like,
I remember that.
If your house ever moves an inch, you're going to be ready. And Red Foreman's like, you need to get out of my house or I'm going to kick your ass. Like,
I remember being so excited that Richard Karn was going to be on that episode.
That was a great episode. But Everybody Loves Raymond is one that I have a newfound appreciation for. And then same thing, King of Queens, we got really into for a while when that was on TV.
King of Queens is so good.
It is good.
It is so good.
So, and then lastly, Sean had Rescue Me. Rescue Me is a great show. The Office, Seinfeld, Simpsons, and Archer. Archer is another one that we've watched all of, and that is really enjoyable too as an adult animated show.
John, you watch Archer?
Benjamin.
No, I don't. And the Bond
I'm surprised you haven't.
You would like that,
ridicule me for it because they all love Archer. So
there's Vinny. I don't know how much you remember, but there's an episode where they all get trapped in the elevator on the way to work. Do you remember that episode? That is arguably my favorite episode.
Archer?
Yes, they get trapped in the elevator.
I haven't watched Archer.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
No,
but it's really, really funny. So all right,
it is. I'll have to check that out.
All right, it's time. It's late. Let's get to our number one so we can all go to bed.
Do we do number one or?
Oh my God, man! We need a new host.
Own rules to the podcast.
we need a new host. This is what happens when I take over the whatever segment, Greg. I just want to. This is a cautionary tale, just so you know.
This is like the prequel to Doctor Strange because we are like in the multiverse right now because you know Justin's off doing his own whatever section. So, but we're here to play along.
All right, what's your Vinny? What's your honorable mentions?
Okay, real quickly here, I have a big list of them. The Honeymooners, Dick Van Dyke, New Girl, South Park, Family Guy, All in the Family, Simpsons, Schitt's Creek, Modern Family, New Girl, and Bob's Burgers.
Ooh, I've never watched Bob's Burgers.
There's a movie coming out.
Yeah.
Is there?
Yeah,
I haven't watched it since we got rid of cable, but it's the episode it's a very good. It's funny.
I only know that because it's one of the trailers before Batman.
That's the only reason I know it too.
Nice.
We saw the same trailers, Justin.
Good. Yeah, we did. We need to talk about that Nick Cage movie because it actually looks really good. All right.
Yeah, it looks interesting.
And I know Vinny loves his Nick Cage movies more than me. All right. My honorable mentions, I'll go King of Queens, Everybody Loves Raymond, Parks and Rec, Schitt's Creek, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And then these two I really enjoy. They're from the 90s. Spin City with Michael J. Fox.
Oh,
great show.
Heather Locklear, right?
Heather Locklear's in it. Yeah. And then once what's his name? Tiger Blood.
Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen got in. I kind of fell off. The other one from the 90s, I loved as a kid, and it was on some syndicated channel for a while, and then it ended. So we taped them all. Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place with Ryan Reynolds.
Erica loves that show.
We watched the entire series. We recorded them all. Excellent, great.
Ryan Reynolds is in that.
Yes, he is. Yeah. Such a good 90s show. Highly recommend it. And it's only 4 seasons, so it's really quick to watch. And it was Drew Carey was another one that I really liked too.
Oh yeah, Drew Carey.
What were you saying, Greg?
Right there. The girl from Monk in the later season.
Yes, is that Trailer Howard? Is that her name?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Okay, yeah, she's in that too. Yeah. All right, Greg, what's your honorable mentions?
Really quick, How I Met Your Mother, Bernie Mac, the Bernie Mac show, Modern Family, King of the Hill, King of Queens, that 70s show. And this might be controversial. But I enjoyed the show much before this guy turned out to be the evil the Cosby Show. So
I'm glad you can admit that, because before he turned into before it was brought to light that he was
brought to light, exactly.
I watched that show all the time. I loved it, and I almost after all the stuff came out, the box set dropped to like $9.99, and I'm like, no, I can't do it. I can't watch this show, and I can't do it. King of the Hill is a good one, and then what was the first honorable mention you mentioned?
I had How I Met Your Mother.
How I Met Your Mother. Okay.
Yeah.
I loved that show, but I have not seen a show that so badly hit the ending besides like The Office. Like that was catastrophically bad that last season. Spoilers. You work up the entire 7-8 seasons of the show to meet the mom. You meet the mom, and then you immediately kill her off in like 6 episodes. I'm like, what the hell? So
to make that worse, that was the plan from the beginning,
from the get-go.
Yeah, because they filmed this last scene with those kids very early on.
And Ted and Robin, I was so over that whole thing.
That's what the show's about.
I did not like them together.
How I'm in love with Robin,
and that's
what
it.
It is. Yeah,
that's all it was.
To be called, right?
Yeah.
I still love the crazy hot scale that Barney comes up with in one of the episodes. I've referred. Never mind.
Neil Patrick Harris is incredible.
He's got a freaking stormtrooper outfit in his apartment. How great is that?
Ted is probably one of the worst lead characters.
He's pretty bad.
And I thought, I know I asked you guys, but Josh Radnor, he's doing something now, isn't he? Because he wasn't doing anything for a while.
The Hunters.
Hunters. He was on some other show.
He's great in that show.
That's what you said.
He was on some other show that must have ended very quickly about he was like a choir teacher and teaching kids to sing or something. I remember seeing.
I think that sounds familiar. Yeah,
and that did not look good, and it didn't last. Have you guys watched any of How I Met Your Father on Hulu? Oh, you guys, I don't know if you guys. Okay,
no.
We watched 2 episodes. It wasn't bad.
Hillary
Duff. Yeah, we haven't had time to go back to it though, so we'll see. But all right, now
I'll turn on Lizzie McGuire first.
There you go. Even Stevens.
We were not a Disney Channel family growing up. We were solely Nickelodeon and then Cartoon Network to a lesser extent. So never had Disney Channel growing up. All right, let's do our number ones.
Tell me if you interpret them as I do. One.
I'm only asking this for your safety. Is it a number 1?
Lesson number 1.
All right.
Awesome.
Number 1, Vinny. What is your number 1?
Parks and Recreation.
I knew it.
All right.
Yep.
Thanks, Greg.
Well, that's after I learned about the rest of your list.
My other ones,
because I
narrowed it down.
I had you pegged for Seinfeld, but Parks and Rec. All right, good stuff.
Yes, Parks and Rec, beginning to end, Justin, as you said, there wasn't a bad season.
No.
The writing in it was spectacular.
Yes,
they foreshadowed a ton of stuff. I know one that sticks out in my mind is when Leslie goes on a date with I can't think of his name, Will Arnett. I know the actor, and he's giving her free MRI. And he goes, "Wow, you really have a good oven there. You can make a lot of babies." And he goes, and he just talks about her womb, which is completely awkward for a first date.
Yeah.
But he's talking about her womb and how great she would be at being a mother. And she ends up having they have quadruplets,
something like
triplets.
that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the foreshadowing on that. Plus, they predicted the Cubs World Series win.
That's right.
Yeah. Yep.
So the writing on it was great. None of the characters had bad arcs, I felt like, in it. All the arcs were great. No one derailed too ridiculously. They made Ron Swanson into this kind of softy dad, once he got married. And the fact that he loves puzzles and stuff like that. But I absolutely love that show. Jerry's fart attack was hilarious. I think that's a scene I've laughed at very hard. A lot of times, just thinking about it now, I'm about to start busting a gut. But yeah, I think all the characters in it were great. I can't say that there was one character that I really disliked
you're right.
at one point. in the show. I love the episode where they absorb the rich town, and then they and all the names. I haven't watched the show in a couple years.
Yeah.
But when they have they meet their counterparts, and who is the old guy? Sam. I can't think of his name.
Sam Elliott? No, not
Sam Elliott.
Sam
yeah,
Elliott?
He's the Ron Swanson.
That's right. Yeah.
The other one, and then just him and Ron going back and forth. It's just great. Yeah, I absolutely love that show. So, yeah, number one for me, Parks and Rec.
That my couple of favorite episodes. One of my favorite episodes is when she's running for town council, and they're gonna have like a rally at the ice rink.
Yes,
the carpet is not long enough. The platform has no stairs, and it's just the runner was too long, and they keep playing like a 20-second cut of Gloria Estefan's "Get on Your Feet," and it just keeps having to loop because they can't walk fast enough. Great episode. The Model UN episode is great, and I love when Andy's like, well, I don't want to. He's going through all these companies. They're like, or I'm sorry, countries, and they're like, you want to be Iceland? He's like, ugh, they were the bad guys in Mighty Ducks 2. I could never be Iceland. He's like, I could do Germany, though. They've never been bad, right? I'm like, oh, God, Andy. And then there's a great episode where Andy and April decide to go to the doctor because they have insurance and they get all these checkups. Favorite episode, bar none. And if you want to look up a hysterical, there's a deleted scene, not that one, but there's a deleted scene I just saw recently again, where they're talking about comeback tales. And if Vinny, I don't know if you're going to know what I'm talking about, but Andy mentions that Kim Kardashian is a comeback tale and she's revived her career. So just Google that. You will not. It's not clean, and there's a reason it was cut. I'm prefacing that. But I've never heard Erica laugh so hard the first time she heard that. So there you go.
I'll have to give that a listen.
Yeah.
Little fact for the episode where they don't build the ramp or for the election, and they're at the ice arena. Patty's Pub is in that episode.
Is it really?
Oh wow.
Yes, when they're like stuck, they're trying to get like all the material to the ice arena. They're like stuck. I forgot, like they don't have a permit or something for the truck, but they're stopped outside of Patty's Pub.
Wow.
In that episode. And Patty's Pub is also in the league too. In one of a couple of the episodes there. So so just a little known fact.
Very, very cool.
That's one show I definitely have to revisit because that should be my honorable mention. I love, and one character that I didn't know that what I really felt about that character, but in the end turned out to be one of my favorites, if not my favorite, was Aubrey Plaza as April.
I have told Erica numerous times
deadpan humor was
that character reminds me of my wife.
Yep.
like almost to the T. Like there's a few instances where she's a little more heartfelt and stuff like that, but that character, like that's
Erica or your wife is more hard, or I mean right. Erica
or April. Erica is more heartfelt than April, but anytime I see April's character, I'm like that is who I married. Which I guess makes me Andy Bernard. I don't even remember what Andy's last name was. Burt Macklin. That makes me Burt Macklin. Yep. So, but yeah, there you go.
I still have the Ron Swanson pyramid of.
Yes, I still have mine too.
Is what it is? Love that.
I still have mine too.
Live by
that. Greg.
Probably no surprise to you guys, but it is Seinfeld.
Okay.
So Seinfeld for me. Yeah, I mean, I really couldn't put. I mean, I could put something else in one. I won't because it really belongs to Seinfeld. My favorite show as a kid, still as an adult, pretty much solid for me all the way through. I still even love the finale. I know it gets ragged on a lot, but I'll still sit and watch it, even though how ridiculous it is. But yeah, the amount, how relatable it is, how quotable it is. I mean, it's like my go-to like GIF. Like the first thing I can think of too. Favorite episode, I think, at least at this point, it still has to be the puffy shirt.
That is a good one.
Nice.
That's the close talker, isn't it?
Yes.
The quiet talker.
So the
quiet talker. Sorry, quiet talker.
Yeah.
Close talker is a different episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So yeah, I mean, favorite character has to be. I think the favorite character is the four of them together, pretty much. So
it's an ensemble.
Right. There's not, I guess you could call Jerry the main character, but the others just the others just have as much, happening with them. There's like there's like 3 or 4 different story arcs within one episode.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it's just something I could turn on at any time, something I can watch. It's just like an anytime show for me. And, one that, it's definitely my number one. So Seinfeld,
Excellent.
probably no surprise to you guys, but
very nice. All right. My number one, probably by elimination, is The Office. And for all the reasons we said, it shouldn't be a number one, meaning the last half of the seasons are horrible. They are. I refuse to watch anything after Michael leaves. However, those first 6 seasons, that is a show that when there is nothing on, that's literally what I put on. I will just put on a random episode. I have seen every single episode in the first 6 seasons, probably like, I don't know, 10, 15 times already at this point. But the George Foreman grill, Stanley has a heart attack, the duel between Andy and Dwight, and how, if he keeps the Prius under 10 miles an hour, it's virtually silent. It's actually, he deserves to win. The rabies episode with Meredith, all of the Christmas specials are absolutely spectacular. I get so excited to watch those during the holiday season.
Oh, not you, Justin.
Not me. And I hate Halloween. So that's like the one saving grace. That's the one saving grace of Halloween. Even some of the later stuff with like the Michael Scott Paper Company. Like I love that arc, even though
such a cringeworthy episode.
It's such a cringe. Yeah, it's so cringy.
Sorry, I was thinking of Scott's Tots. Sorry.
Oh, Scott's Tots is good.
That's some of the most cringeworthy stuff in television and history.
It's so
has to
good.
Be,
but my go-to, my number one with a bullet is The Dinner Party, and I could watch.
Good call.
Just when he takes that TV, that little like 18-inch flat screen, and he's like, sometimes there's just not enough room in this living room, so I take my TV and I push it back, and he literally moves it like an inch back.
An inch.
He's like,
have you seen the outtakes on that?
Yes, they couldn't stop laughing.
They're great.
Yes,
John Krasinski.
Just the whole like, I don't think she would, but if she was going to poison me or someone that cares about me, this would be the time to do it. The Sambuca has to continue braising for 4 more hours. Great episode, great series.
I was going to say in that episode, there's always one part of that episode that I want to say that she is poisoning him. Because when they're drinking the wine, he goes, "Ooh, this has an oaky afterbirth," which is weird if you would hear anybody say, but everybody knows Michael. But Jim goes, "What?" And as soon as he says that, Jan cuts him off and changes the subject. Which I'm like, wait a minute, like. Yeah, Jim would say what, but like, so what if Michael goes into
if no one else experienced that taste? Yeah, it makes you wonder.
Exactly. So and then I don't know if you guys ever caught on to that, but I heard that like a couple of years ago. I was like, wait, maybe she is actually poisoning Michael, and that's the reason why.
Jan is.
He cuts him off and starts talking about Hunter.
Oh God. They talked about that on the Office Ladies podcast, that was somebody, I want to say from, was it the Pixies? It was somebody from a band that actually recorded all that. It wasn't the actor that played Hunter.
Okay.
They had someone else do it.
Yeah.
But the scene where they take them on the tour and they get to the bedroom and she's talking about how, Jan has space needs or space issues. And he's got this little ottoman. He's like, oh no, it's really comfy. And he proceeds to jump on and show them just how comfy it is. Makes me laugh because he's so oblivious to, a good relationship. So there you have it. There's our top 5 sitcoms. We've run the gambit from good, better, and best. We know how much Vinny loves Friends now. It's good to know that that's out in the the open.
Did that make any of our honorable mentions?
Made mine. I don't know if I'd
Friends
put it
is
on mine,
Friends
but
is fine.
It's fine.
But,
Wow. Bringing the
couple
heat.
Episodes.
We're going to get some emails and comments on that one, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Vinny, you got anything else you want to add to the show before we go to bed?
I don't.
Okay, good.
Nope.
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Jeez, thanks, Justin.
Come on, man.
Oh man,
I still got like 45 minutes of editing this thing after we get off here.
So. I think it's too bad we release it a day later, Justin.
It's all right.
Get some rest.
Yep. No. Well, considering I keep saying hospital,
for your health,
school,
Justin. So.
What's that ever got?
He's
But you're
on spring break.
Yeah, you're on
Yeah.
spring break. I forgot. So.
Yeah, but Maddie's not. She's getting up at 6 no matter what.
That is true. So.
Vinny, I'm sorry.
no.
What were you going to say?
At 6?
6.
That's not bad.
She goes to bed at like 9 and she gets up at 6.
I get up at 5.
Oh, good Lord.
every day.
Why are you still on this call? He's dedicated.
It's a man of the podcast. Here.
And my son gets up at 5:30. He
So
doesn't sleep in.
So before I accidentally cut you off, Vinny, what did you want to say?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have anything. I didn't have anything to say.
I thought you had something to add and I cut you off.
No, I just wanted you to make you feel bad.
Fair enough. Greg, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, just what I wrote for the Bulls. I don't know if you covered it, but I lost a lot of interest since the baseball.
They're not
again.
doing
They've been
good.
playing bad.
Yeah, we talked about how we jinxed them.
Oh yeah, I think that's pretty much how it is. So
yes,
yeah. I'll watch them in the playoffs, but I think that's about it.
If they don't make it through the play-in tournament or the play-in game, they might not make the playoffs at this point. They're struggling. But
last thing too, I don't know what you guys talk about in the White Sox section, but Yoelki Cespedes been killing the ball a little bit. So
good.
Keep an eye on him. He won't make the team. He needs at bats in the minors, but he's showing some good swings in spring training, so he might have a right fielder in the works here. So
excellent.
There we go.
Excellent.
That's it.
All right. Well, Greg, make sure you listen to like the first few minutes because we tried to tell the listeners where you were, how you were on assignment before the show started. So make sure you listen. I think you're going to enjoy it. I think you're going to like it. All right. On that note, we are Baseball and Whatever. If you want to get a hold of us, first of all, you can watch the video version on YouTube, search Baseball and Whatever, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff that the kids say. Please do it. It would help us out a lot. We're up to 86 subscribers. Text line 1-913-808-3278. That number again is 1-913-808-BART. There we go. You can tweet us at Baseball and What. You can Instagram us at Baseball and Whatever. Facebook.com/baseball and whatever.
Baseball. Sean Connery.
Wow.
Man, I am. Whoa, I'm going down with the ship right now. I'm the captain of the Titanic, just looking at the waves.
We need that. We need the quartet playing.
We do. Email
us amateur hour.
That's a good one.
That's exactly what it is. Email us at baseballwhatever@gmail.com or baseballwhateverpodcast@bellyupsports.com. You can listen to us on all your podcast apps, whether it's Apple, Spotify, Google, Anchor, Spreaker, Podcast Addict, iHeartRadio, and many, many more. Whatever you choose to use, we will be there. Thank you for listening. We will be back with more shenanigans and fun next week on Baseball and Whatever. Take care, everybody.
Take care.
See you.